Welcome, everyone, to our latest episode of The Testing Room, where three of the gaming industry's best video game consultants who have never actually consulted on a video game bring you new topics each and every week. I'm Alex, and my AC just kicked on. Perfect time.
It is perfect. I'm Christian, a.k.a. Pseudo-Wudo45.
I am Preston, a.k.a. Funkadelic Jedi.
Yeah, so what's going on, fellas?
Not a lot. Chilling. Enjoying the nice weather.
Yeah, just hanging out.
Is it nice? It is, it's 83 here, which isn't bad, but it's been rainy. It was rainy this morning and rainy this afternoon.
Give me that humid.
It's been humid.
Give me that humidity percentage.
Give you that humidity percentage, precipitation, wind speed, humidity 76%.
Oh, that is
76%.
That is just unbearable,
No,
unlivable.
I wouldn't call it unbearable, to be fair,
it's fine.
but
I would.
humidity in Tampa, where we used to live, because everybody's like, oh, Florida's so hot, is actually 67%. It's 10% less. Now, it does say Tampa feels like 99, so there's that. But where it's only 82 here, but the humidity where we used to live is significant.
This was this was like 2 weeks ago now, I think. But the other day, it was beautiful, as it always is here in the summer. But it was beautiful out the other day, and Preston and I, we went to it was me, him, and Alexa, but we went to the beach. But before Preston got there, I sent a photo to my uncle who lives in Arizona. You guys met him at the wedding, but that was the day that it was a brisk 121 there. And It was like right off the lake. It was like maybe 73-ish, and the lake breeze is coming in. And so I sent him a photo from where we were sitting at, and I was like, because he always messes with me in the winter, and he'll send me photos of, it being 60 degrees there, and he's like, bet you wish you were here. And so then I did it to him, and he was not pleased.
Our feels like right now between Milwaukee and Atlanta are the same, but the humidity is, you guys are like 67. No, I'm sorry. You guys are 57 and we're 70, whatever. I just told you 76 or what have you.
Quite a difference.
I was scrolling through because I have different work locations saved in weather as well, just so like if I have to travel to an office, I might know what it's like. And I just saw Austin is 102, feels like 107, and it is 7:30 p.m. It's like, no. That sounds awful.
Well, thank you.
So, anyway, well, let's kick things off like we normally do, which would be with Preston's comment corner. Christian, I haven't messed this up in like 4 weeks, and every time I start to dive into something, Preston gives me a look like he's waiting for me to F it up. I see it in his
Waiting to
face.
pounce. Spider monkey.
100%. 100%.
He was
What we got?
He was waiting to pounce just for you to not send the intro last week, or outro last week.
I know.
Hey, I got it though. It's great. Thank you for the new outro. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Fantastic.
You're welcome.
But yeah,
you.
no comments other than good outro. Appreciate it. Appreciate all the hard work.
I have a comment.
Yeah, no one commented on YouTube or
What?
Instagram or the emails. So yeah, no comments.
I have a comment. It's not out yet. I don't know when it's going to go up. But this past Monday, I was on the Anime Boys podcast.
Oh, nice.
With our friend Jake and
Doing
Casey.
Hamtaro.
Yeah. We talked about the first 6 episodes of Hamtaro. Boy, there is some subtext that is left in that show that you don't quite grasp your first run through.
I know of Hamtaro.
How old is that show?
30,
how old is that show?
40
Oh
years?
God, I don't
The
know.
90s?
Well, no. Yeah,
90s is 30 years ago.
I know. I'm not. I'm saying.
Sadly, it really.
Yeah.
I just don't remember when. It was. I think it was 98 in Japan, but it didn't come out here until 2004. I think.
So late
And then
90s.
it
Yeah,
ran
the
from-
original run was 97 to 2000 in Japan. So yeah, you're talking.
Yeah. And then
20,
it ran from. But what's funny is
20,
they ran it from here between all the movies and all the other stuff. It ran on Toonami from 2004 to 2012, I think.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's like 259 episodes and 4 movies and then a bunch of games. I don't know. Jake dropped all this Hamtaro. There was so much I didn't know, but it is just really fun. It's so the funniest thing that I'll say is it is from the era of, and we'll know this because we grew up in it, but it's from the era of Western anime where animes would come over from Japan and then Western studios would be like, Americans are too stupid and they will not understand
Make our own stories up.
So we have to change it. Yeah, we'll just make shit up and just as long as we get to the same point generally, it'll be fine. And so for instance, like I'll save the rest because there's really good ones, but the first one that I noticed was it's smack dab first minute and a half into the first episode, and they're moving. The family that owns Hamtaro is like moving into their new house or whatever. And after they get done moving, it's very clear that they are having like a tea, right? Because that's very common in Japan is to have tea. But they must have assumed that Americans would have been like, get that tea shit out of here. That's weird. Fuck that. Nope. It's even worse. They look at each other and they go, all right, guys, it was great. We did it. We're unpacked. We're moved in. Now it's time for our celebratory beverage of what everybody uses to recuperate after hard work, hot chocolate.
Coca-Cola? Oh, hot chocolate.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a hot drink. I can see that. All right.
Preston, if you got
the
done
animation
moving,
probably had steam.
as a matter of fact, no, stop it. Do not.
I got some Swiss Miss right in my cabinet right now. I don't fuck around. Right?
But you're not sweaty. You're not sweaty and tired. And you're like, I want a refreshing drink of scalding hot cocoa.
Thank you. The day we got done moving my sister, if I looked at you and been like, all right, bro, you want to get some hot chocolate? You'd be like, no.
Fuck out of here.
Yeah, so what are you talking about?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I missed the whole part of them actually doing something that was like hard work. I heard celebration.
Anyway.
I'm like, okay, whatever. They did something cool. That's my hot chocolate.
They did something. Crack out your bottles of hot chocolate. We've accomplished something today, fellas.
It's a nice little treat.
No. Hot chocolate is for Christmas time, and that's it.
Fair.
Cold
maybe.
I'll say winter time in general.
A fall. Yeah, I say maybe like a cold fallish like corn maze or something like that.
Yeah.
But beyond
But it has if it's cold. Yes, cold weather.
A cold evening or Christmas, like you're not drinking hot chocolate.
Hay bale ride. Hell yeah.
Not doing it.
We are dump a little peppy schnapps in there. You're good to go, man.
This is not hot chocolate related. I mean, it's hot chocolate adjacent. But living this new age that we live, Allie has it is hot cocoa, but it's mushrooms, so it's like mushroom hot cocoa, and it's supposed to help you sleep at night. That she orders online. I'm sure it's just microdosing. Like I guarantee.
I was just about to ask you, is this what you're? Because that's actually what it sounds like. What do you mean mushroom hot chocolate? Like is it?
Mushrooms have like a chemical benefit to like the body.
Yeah, but this is not like
to calm you down and help you sleep. It's just in the flavor of hot chocolate. It's something you drink at night.
Because mushrooms by themselves are fucking gross.
Yeah,
so then you pull
but
chocolate
these are
and you taste
clearly
them.
right. But these are clearly psychedelic mushrooms that are.
No, they don't make you trip.
It's not psilocybin, so it's not psychedelic.
But these are not like the mushrooms you get on pizza and then you just put. Yeah, thank you.
There's a lot of different types of mushrooms, Christian.
Yes, but if they all fucking, I'm saying my point is that whatever mushrooms she's getting are not your regular average mushrooms that you can go buy at a grocery store.
Mushrooms are in the level. I don't know, man.
That's it.
They're not.
That
It does help you sleep though.
Yeah,
Sure.
I
It does
bet.
help you sleep. Yeah, it's not bad. Tastes good too, actually.
Counting the little pink elephants they see jumping across the sky.
I was gonna say, dude. You wake up and Bash is just sort of floating above you, and he's like, "What's up, man?"
Oh man. Anyway, do what you want to do. So let's dive into our weeks. Who wants to start?
I can go.
I didn't tell Christian. I didn't tell Christian this. I told Preston this. We're gonna do something new in my week this week. We're gonna try it out. See. What
I don't know what it is.
Okay.
So he told me he's gonna do something new.
I got something.
He knows
fun.
I hate surprises, so just let me know.
Preston said the only caveat is it's not allowed to make fun of him.
As long as it's not, like something special you want to do to make fun of me every time.
Well,
no,
man. Although after this podcast is recorded, at least or one of the nights that we game, we have got to talk about that group. Yes,
we brought that. Yes,
moving on.
I brought that up earlier.
Preston has a private life. We will talk about that on the out of the podcast.
I have played outside of our book club game. I have played a single game.
Oh. Trials 4.
It's
Trails
4.
Yeah, Trails.
And this game, you can tell that it is trying to wrap up basically 2 series worth. No, sorry, I apologize. 3 series worth of stories and characters, because this is no bullshit. I have just crossed the 35-ish hour mark, and I am just now in Act 2. Out of 3 plus a finale. So, but the beginning of Act 2, and Act 2 has 4 fucking parts in it, all with multiple things. It is a massive the thing that I just did at the end of Act 1. In any other game would have been a finale. The people that I fought, the things that I did, the things that happened, the overall plot, the amount of plot that happened within that 35 hours is easily a video game, by itself.
So, at what point will they, with the new games, will they end this whole arc in this place and go somewhere else, right? Because I know they've done other continents, but it's all one overarching story.
Well, kind of, right? So it's all of the games so far are self-contained. So
right.
So they just feature characters from other ones. So the Sky games, when you're done with Sky 1 through 3, as far as liberal is concerned, the country that shit is dead. It is problem solved. There is but
the people come back.
Characters, but it's years removed from that incident. So and they'll even that's why they'll even mention when you start Cold Steel on its own. Cold Steel 1 through 4 is assuming that you might not have played any of those other games, and so they're just dropping you in it and being like, "Hey man, we'll explain it. It doesn't matter. But if you have played, we are going to be dropping, you'll be getting references all the time." So I still think that it's fucking, you absolutely should play them. You should not just jump in at some random point. But they are self-contained characters. Now, the newest ones that are coming out, hopefully next year, they're technically already out in Japan, but hopefully next year, those are going to be ones that are, to our knowledge, they're going to be taking place all the way in Calvard, which is the east, technically. It's a whole other country. And that will feature no returning characters.
So that will be a brand new story.
Kinda. It will be set after everything, right? So, I'm sure that they will have references to, yo, remember when that shit happened over at blank, 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 blank? Or, whatever. Mm-hmm. But in general, yes. In general, it will be brand new, but
okay,
you can just tell that they're trying there, because there's still one game after this fucking 2, which is wild. But it's something else. That's it. That's all I played this week.
That's all you've done. That's impressive. That's impressive that you only played 1 and B did not beat it. Just the 1.
It's 35 hours.
Didn't play a little bit of 14 at all.
Oh, I hopped on for maybe 2 hours to get my dailies done. I was like, sweet.
Just huge. Yeah.
You did those dailies and didn't tell me you were doing the dailies?
I did the weeklies, but you were on a plane. No, actually, I did the weeklies when you were taking photos of the White House.
But you could have told me you were going to do the weeklies. I could have come back and done them with you.
I figured that you were going to be... You clearly were busy, and you had to work.
So the crazy thing about the White House... which is not about the White House at all. I don't know what I was expecting. So I was in D.C. for work. I've been to D.C. many, many times. We used to live in West Virginia really close, so a buddy and I would go every year. And I love DC. I think it's really great. It's this weird, for me, it's this weird dichotomy of like, I love the history, I love the architecture, I love walking to the monuments, seeing the documents, doing all this, but like I hate everything that is like currently going on in the environment of DC,
Sure.
right? Like I know, like many young people, we're not super satisfied with the way our government is working and the way, things are happening for us. So I love DC. I just hate the other. But I've never really been to the White House. I think the only time I've really taken time to go over to the White House was on my 6th grade trip, and we kind of like drove by. You take a picture. It's like 200 sixth graders, then you drive away. So I walked over there, and I don't know what I was expecting, but I was not expecting like 1,000 people just sitting outside, like taking pictures of themselves in front of the White House. I don't know if I thought it was going to be like completely empty or what. But there were way more people just like taking selfies.
It's a tourist
through the
attraction.
bars of the White House, which is very weird to me. And honestly, I think because of that, I walked over and I was like, oh, and then just walked away. Because like you can't get over to it. You're just like, okay, White House,
There it is.
cool.
Sure's the White
Yep,
House.
I've seen bigger.
I've never been this might be a hot take. I don't know if it is. I have never been a building person, like going to see a building of any kind. I'm always like,
You're not big into architecture?
well, no.
So
See,
I
I don't want to go
love-
that far. I don't want to go that far because there's certain things like if I don't have so for instance, like when we were in Ireland and like all the castles and shit,
Sure.
that stuff was wild. It was super cool, especially ones that are like from forever ago or like some of the old like medieval towns that they still have pieces of that they've unearthed and all that stuff. All day, every day, or even stuff that I'm not like like the Christchurch Cathedral that we went to and got photos. Like that shit was wild, right? Like all that stuff I'm totally fine with. I mostly this probably leads into my feelings about modern art, but like modern architecture, where it's like if it's like a new, or just like a red, like what I mean, like the White, like I would walk up to the White House and go, yep, there it is. Well,
I think for me it differs. Like I agree with you. Like I love architecture. I love castles, whether they're old castles or like newer castles, like the Hearst Castle in California or Vanderbilt and that stuff. I think I enjoy it more though when I can take a tour of it.
Sure.
Right? Like if you were just
That's fair.
like that's the problem with the White House. If you just walk up to it and you go like big rectangular house, ooh. But if like I could have taken a tour of the White House, that would have been incredible because like you have the history and the rooms
There used to be
and all that
tours. Do
going
they not do
on.
that anymore, I'm assuming now?
You can, but you can only get a tour through like your senator or something,
Or your
stupid,
school
which,
or
you
whatever,
know,
something like that, to where it's like, yeah.
When I have 2 weeks and to know like I'm traveling up there for work, I don't have enough
A
time.
year of background
nor
checks.
the wherewithal or
plus
want. Yeah. I just-
plus historically those tours always end badly anyway, at least for somebody.
yeah. So I just if I could take a tour, I would probably enjoy it more. But like walking outside, seeing all the people, and you're so
Sure.
far away, you're just like, okay, White House,
Yeah.
cool. That's it. So
Woo.
it is what it is. Preston, how was your week?
It was good. A lot of repeats of what I did last week. So, still more Jedi Outcast. Had a fun time not noticing that I unlocked a door. I was doing the edit today, and I think Christian was there last night. I don't know if you were, Alex. But yeah, I'm sitting there. I'm like looking around. Like I got the key. I go up there. I go to the door, and I think it tells me that the door is still locked. The door doesn't open or anything like that, so no one comes out of it. So I walk away from it and spend another like 20, 25 minutes just looking at every fucking corner, trying to find this key. I'm like, there's got to be a key somewhere. And I end up walking back. Like maybe there's a key from like dropped out there, and YouTube won't notice. But anyone who watched on the Twitch had an extra 20 minutes of me fucking
The manga
figuring out the
readers,
blueprint of this level.
I'm sad you cut it out and didn't just speed it up.
Well,
I thought about
Just
that.
do it real
Yeah.
quick.
I'm like,
Preston,
no.
you're glazing over a serious crime that you committed
Oh.
during this live stream.
Chopping a protocol droid in half.
It's very clearly C-3PO.
C3PO.
The voice is not. No,
The
that's-
voice is not, but he is designed. It is
it's a
C-3PO.
golden protocol droid. They
Bro,
just didn't want to have
you-
different models. He was on Yavin.
They-
He's not going to be hanging out in Cloud City underneath a staircase for no good fucking reason. Luke Skywalker's not
put-
even there.
They put him and R2-D2 under a staircase.
It's an R2 unit and a protocol droid that happens to also be gold.
Ooh, yeah, so they go.
Because the
they
game didn't
walk
want to
right
make a
up
whole
to
new
it.
design with new colors. An R5 unit looks like
Yeah.
the same fucking
Yeah.
R5 unit from A New Hope. Like they just don't want to make a new model. They just don't want to make a color change on it.
Murderers make the craziest excuses.
I mean, he's
anyway,
put back
They
together.
do.
He's a robot.
They do.
So he
can't put a
he
human
walks
back
right
together. You put a
up,
human- yeah,
and
robot.
he walks up to him, and he just, and this is how I know that you know you're wrong. Is as soon as he did it, he swipes the lightsaber. C-3PO just explodes, just like
Yeah.
instant gives,
And then
and
half.
Preston looks at the screen and
Cut in
goes,
half. You're like, didn't think that was gonna happen. Jesus. I'm like, I didn't mean
and
to
so
kill
I
him.
put in all caps in the chat. I was like, "You need to go to jail."
Yeah, I'm sitting there going, like, I didn't mean to kill him. I'm like, well, I did press the button. I'm like, so kind of like there was intent there. So, like, yeah, I got him.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's
That's
okay.
third degree, baby. You did it.
It's
That's
on camera.
hilarious.
It's fine.
Is it better though if it's all on camera?
It's just a protocol droid. It'd be fine. It's like C-3PO lost half of his body anyways, and you put him right back together. If C-3PO's there, Chewie's got to be there, right, Christian? So he's just going to get put back together again. Don't worry about it. Some Ugnaughts going to take care of him.
I don't think that means that he deserves to die.
I didn't think it was going to happen. You know, you got to fuck around and find out sometimes. But yeah, other than that, we are also playing some Snap on Sunday morning still. We got Thanos. So I'm super excited about that. I was doing really well on the gold conquest. I was waiting for Christian to show up with the hard drive with all the Metro stuffs, and I went out there to go get it. I came back upstairs. I'm like, okay, let's do this last round. I started up. Great start. Internet disconnects. Internet disconnects for long enough for me to lose the entire match, which was the last match on Conquest, which means I did not get my Infinite ticket or any of the rewards, and I was doing well.
Oh no.
Yes, very much womp womp.
So was that the end
Yep.
of the season or the beginning of the new season?
Oh no,
That
so
was the
that no,
end.
yeah, so that was the beginning of the new season. So it was just me crying.
Okay. So
Tickets.
where'd you end up? Because I know we were going for 90 2 weeks ago. Where'd you end up with this
87, 88. So I started back off at like 58, and I'm already at like 67. So we're doing good. We're making our climb up there. I'm doing very well with this Thanos Lockjaw deck. It's very fun. I'm having a lot of good times with it. So.
Nice.
Yeah, playing a little more of that. I got some spotlight caches I'm going to hold on to because this week has all the cards I already have. So unless I really want those variants, I'm not going to worry about it. So I'm going to hold on to it. So no, next week after this is going to have some cards I don't have yet. But it's the new season. So this is big in Japan. So the free card you get is Dakin. I think it's Dakin. It's Wolverine's son, technically, I think. A part of the Wolverine family. You know, the Bat family, you got a whole bunch of people who are part of the Bat family that aren't actually his actual kids. Well, Wolverine has a Wolverine family, which is a whole bunch of fucking people who have blades somewhere on their body.
But are they actually like his kids or like adopted kids?
So Dakin, I think, is actual kid of his. Like X-23, for example, is like a person who was like cloned or like made from like his DNA.
Yeah. Yeah, well, she was Weapon X,
Yeah.
right? Like Weapon X-23.
Yeah.
So question,
And more than one, obviously.
do his kids have adamantium claws?
Yes. Well, so
blades?
no, Dakin, for some reason, imbued his metal with something of the Muramasa blade, which is the only thing that can actually destroy or stop his healing powers as far as Wolverine's healing powers, which is why he did it. So he wanted to kill his father for some combat.
But they're metal.
They're metal.
Why? Why would he want to kill?
Okay,
I
so-
don't know the story.
so
There's a
are we
story
s-
behind it. He's probably mad because daddy
So are we-
issues. I don't know.
So are we saying then that Wolverine's semen and DNA carry the ability to birth people with metal in them? 'Cause
No,
remember,
metal's part of the
Wolverine
Weapon X program.
was bone. Right, he was bone, and then they changed it all through Weapon
Yes.
X. So how does his kid have metal?
Because he
blades?
used his blade instead of his like whatever normal human bone blades. He changed that into the Muramasa blade stuff, whatever the fuck Muramasa blade's made out of, and that is able to stop his father's healing powers.
At what age was he doing this?
Dude, I don't have that.
If he's
I
a
don't have that
kid?
much information. I'm not that good.
Alex, I think it is.
Do we need to watch this? Are there people? Are there people doing these operations on children?
I do.
Yeah, the X-23 was a child when she got Logan. Did you watch Logan?
I do appreciate what you're trying to do here. It is sort of undercut by the fact that you have a wall full of comic books behind you, which clearly knows.
He's not an X-Men fan.
it clearly shows you know exactly how stupid these stories can get. So
He's just trying to pull it out of me. But I just don't know the
exactly.
answers.
No.
Yes,
I'm fine. I'm fine with calling stuff out. If we want to talk about how ridiculous plot holes are, we can do it. But I'm saying like that seems like a plot hole. If Wolverine had his stuff like he had bone, right? And Wolverine Origins.
So, yeah.
It's a really great comic. Like it shows his bone blades and before Weapon X and all of that. So like, how does this kid get metal blades?
Because he wanted to
Or
kill
are
his
we
father,
saying
and
that,
whoever he was
like-
working for put the Muramasa blade shit on his bone stuff so he could kill his father with it.
I don't want to speak for him, but I'm assuming if Jake was
Okay.
here, he would look at you as a comic book shop owner and say, "Alex, just shut up and read the book."
No, I
A
feel like
comic book,
I
though.
was gonna say Jake would probably have an answer or say read it. Yeah, no.
But yeah, there's
just
a couple of them. Like
sounds like a
this
loophole.
this month is going to be it's him, it's X-23, it's Lady Deathstrike, and it might be it. No, Samurai, Silver Samurai are the new cards this month.
Do you get anything fun like no Weapon H? Weapon H is dope.
No Weapon H in this.
Like a Hulk with sweet blades.
I haven't even heard that. No, that's very cool. There might be a variant maybe that they might do later on in the road. But speaking of variants, this one has mech variants, which are very cool. As far as like the cards, it's like Magneto has a sweet mech variant, which is him doing the whole like he does his little pose, but there's a giant Magneto mech behind him, which looks super fucking rad. And a bunch of whole other cool mechs. But yeah, they had like a little animated intro for you, Christian, of Dakin's mech.
Yeah, if you want to get down with it, Christian, I know somebody that could Sherpa you through all the ins and outs of that game.
Oh, that'll
He's
never.
a great friend of this pod and is right here.
Yeah.
So
I will not be downloading that video game.
No,
But
I didn't expect you to.
I will continue to admire Preston's love for it from afar.
from afar, that's fair.
From Twitch on Sundays.
That's fair.
It's from Twitch on.
And when I'm
Sundays,
hanging out
yeah.
with him, like, Christian, look at this. But yeah, it's got that. It's got a couple of anime variants.
I hopped in last Sunday, and I think I hopped in right after Christian and Travis hopped
Gotcha.
out because I
were you
responded
there?
to something in chat. I responded to something in chat, and nobody answered. And I scrolled up, and I think I responded to something that had happened in chat like earlier, and I just didn't pay attention to it. So I was like, oh, I think I missed them.
That's fine. But yeah, it's got that. Got some anime variants too. The one, if you get the Conquest, because Conquest always has their one variant. It's a real sweet, sad anime emo Wolverine. I'll show it to you guys on the Sunday. I want it just because it's funny, but 'cause I have a Wolverine I already like. It's him in like the yellow costume in the rain, and it's animated rain, so it's like one of the coolest variants I have. I love that one. I would love to get it black and white, which I got my first black and white / gold split. So like when you're doing the upgrades for all the cards, you get to the very top and it does a split for you. You get a holographic background. You might get like some sparkles coming off of it. But when you get to like the third or fourth split, if you will, we call it, that means that you can get possibly a gold or a full what they call inked. So it's like full black and white or whatever you got. And I got one for Spider-Woman's, my Peach Momoko Spider-Woman. It's all black and white now. It looks very cool. I'm very excited about it. I'm very excited about it.
Wolverine.
This card I don't actually own.
Wolverine always has great art. At one time, I sold them for a lot more than I paid for them. But I had the Death of Wolverine. There were 4
Oh, yeah.
covers, and each one was like him and Death, and like his body was like breaking down more and more and more and more till it was like at first like him and he's injured, but by the 4th cover, Death is carrying him, and it's just like a skeleton, essentially.
I've seen
And
those. It's cool.
It was all holographic and slabbed and graded, and those were beautiful.
Yeah.
Wolverine
Great,
always
yeah.
has really good art.
Yeah, like recently they had like X Lives and Deaths of Wolverine, and like those covers and that art was pretty cool. But yeah, other than that, Snap on Sundays, just like usual. Jedi Cross on Wednesdays. Playing a lot more Final Fantasy 16. It's pretty much my go-to. Like if I'm not playing games with you guys or doing one of my streams, I am full into 16. I will finish this Final Fantasy.
Have you passed me?
I don't
sure you
know where
probably
you
have.
stopped. So I defeated the first big boss, and then
Okay.
I went to Martha's Rest, and then after Martha's Rest, it's another level that has like a lot of ancient stuff in it, like a temple kind of thing. I finished all that up and did that whole final battle, which is like a lot of self-reflecting kind of battle kind of deal. I don't know if you remember that story part, but that's pretty much where I ended off on that second big battle, if you will,
Based
I would
on
say.
the last conversation I had with Alex that I remember, I believe
same.
you are farther than him. No, I think you are farther than him in Preston now. Because
Yeah, I think you've passed me.
I think the revelation that you came to,
Yes.
he does not know yet.
Okay.
Okay. Well, that means I'm gonna have to dive in because we know
There's a hooded figure that I
Preston
know
can't-
who it is. I know who
Preston
it is.
cannot. Preston cannot beat me to a Final Fantasy finish. Like, it just can't. He just finished his first Final Fantasy like last year, right? He can't beat me to this one.
And
You-
that one took
if
him
you try,
two,
you'll be
like
fine.
2 years.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, if you try, it won't be very hard to. Because I can only get a couple hours in here or there. That's my day off. It's good. Again, great looking game. It's been a while since I had one of these games, but when that 4K kicks in, you're like, yep, hey, this is a 4K game. I see all these little details and all these distant pieces of grass and shit like that, and landscapes in this game look phenomenal. I took
What
some
you need
photos
to
I might
do-
even put down here, but yeah.
What you need to do is take you gotta put some work in to try to finish it before the 18th, my man.
I know.
I think maybe Sunday snapping can be Sunday slicing, and you can do just a quick stream of Final Fantasy. Like, look, man, I just got to beat Alex.
There is-
The race
there
to
is
beat
no
Alex.
way-
The race to world second.
There's no way you. There is no way you beat it in a week for Armored Core. It's not gonna happen.
I'm not talking about Armored Core.
Oh no.
Preston
What's
and
the
I
18th?
have a separate game that's coming out on the 18th.
Oh, what's that?
It's Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, baby.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah. Okay. When's Armored Core? That's this month,
next
is it
month.
not?
It is. It's this month, but
End of
it
it?
is.
No, it's
Is that
this
into
month.
it? Okay.
May
it,
24th.
no. What? May 24th? No, it's this month.
No, I said maybe the 24th.
Oh, I thought you said May 24th, and I was like, no. Yeah, it's towards the end of this month. It's like
I got it on my game.
at the
list.
very, very tail end.
Yeah.
25th, yeah.
I've already got that.
Yeah.
That's loaded up, and
Got that. You got Mortal Kombat coming up shortly after that.
Baldur's Gate 3 is out.
And Baldur's Gate 3, as soon as Baldur's Gate 3 happens, we're all jumping in on that. That's the beginning of next month.
Yeah.
On console.
It's sitting in my cart, and I'll just go ahead and buy it now tonight. So I need to know, like, as soon as you guys start it up, we'll start it up. I know you can do a solo campaign too, but you can do 2 saves, right? And we have to do one together.
Well, do we know if crossplay is a thing?
I thought there was.
I don't know. I'm asking.
I think so.
Okay.
Because, well, to be
I think-
fair,
I
I think
believe-
the only thing I
well,
need for my
I think
computer
it-
is a solid state drive, and I think everything else checks out as far as work doable for me. We'll double check with you, Christian, later on,
believe-
but yeah.
Yeah, see, I believe cross save launches with the console launch,
Dope.
which would be next month.
Yeah,
Beginning
I'm
of
literally
next
just
month.
like,
Yeah.
this is my
Yeah.
plan. This is my plan. I don't know how well this is gonna work, but my plan is to.
You're not going to be able to get all this stuff. It's not going to happen.
I'm gonna finish.
There's no way.
I'm gonna finish Trails
Okay.
before the 18th,
Yeah, and at which point you're going to get Bomb Rush, which it won't be a long game.
and then
That
I'm gonna
won't be
play
long,
Bomb Rush Cyberpunk till Armored Core.
which is a week. Which, if you can't beat that game in a week, I would be
Christian
surprised,
can beat this
right?
game in a week, yeah.
I don't.
Yeah,
know. Well,
I
look,
feel like
we
it
don't
won't-
know anything
I
about
feel like
that
it won't
game.
be that long.
We
Don't
know
know.
nothing about that game.
But
I know nothing about it.
Christian
I
probably
don't.
be able
I
to.
do not think it would be over 15 hours, but I don't. We don't know. We
And
absolutely
you could beat
know
a
nothing
50 to
about that
60 hour game with
Correct
a
me if
week.
I'm wrong. Bomb Rush is the game where you're running around kicking people in the face, yeah?
No,
It's
that's
Jet Set
Angerfoot.
Radio. No, that's Angerfoot.
Oh.
yeah. This
oh,
is
Angerfoot.
This is
Angerfoot,
the
okay.
Jet Set Radio spiritual
Jet Set.
successor.
Yes.
There's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, longer than 15 would be a lot.
I would be. I'm expecting a similar length to like Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah.
That's my
15,
guess.
20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll beat that in a week.
So I want to get that done before Armored Core, and then I would like to finish. And then I'm gonna play Armored Core.
I'm going to try
And
out
then-
Armored Core. I don't know.
And then
if I-
after Armored Core is done, in between, while I'm playing Armored Core, we can start, like, I'll probably dabble between that and Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3 is going to be much like and then after that, I'll probably just go head first into Baldur's Gate 3, and then I'll finish up, somewhere in between there or after that is when I'll do Zelda and Star Wars, and then I'll be good, I think.
Starfield.
No Spider-Man this year. Starfield.
There's a lot of games this year, okay? A lot of games.
It's not a good year.
It's a great
here's
year.
Not a good-
That's the problem.
I think I can still. The thing that I'm going to do is, I think right now, unless somehow I am able to really kick it into overdrive for certain things, I think I will safely be saying that Trails of Reverie is going to be a 2024 game.
You're going to hold off for a little bit before you get to that. Yeah.
And, you know, in fairness, I played 8 of those fucking games this year, so...
But you don't know how this one's... But you don't know how this one's going to end.
It's a big cliffhanger. You're going to want to know.
I know. I'm very worried. Because I'm telling you, like... I wish I could describe to you guys what happened
at 3. What if you get spoiled?
Because my initial thought was like, hey, if 3 ends, like, in a similar manner to 2... I'll be okay to like take a pause for a second and do some other stuff. Mm-hmm. But the way 3 ended, I was like, I physically like cannot, and I had to just go immediately press the install button. So we'll see. I don't know. I hope not though.
Okay. Yeah. I know I'm already effing myself, just because like with every passing day, whenever I don't finish, 16 or haven't finished like Inshin or something like. It's not like I have these games to play till the end of the year. It's not like nothing else is coming out. Like only more is coming
I'm saying
out.
Priorities.
So
now.
I know come like November, I will be carrying around a Steam Deck with me everywhere I go. If I go to the bathroom, I'm gonna have to like log in and play some game in the like 10 minutes I'm in the bathroom, and then like, wherever I'm going, like it's just gonna be such a rush to finish the games I need to finish for, the game of the year is going to be insane.
I'm worried that I'm not even going to be able to touch Zelda before the end of the year. I'll probably touch it, but I'm not going to get a whole lot into it. I'm afraid of.
I don't.
We'll see. Never know. We'll see.
I don't want to get too spicy already, but I think it's okay. You'll be fine. I'm
not too upset about it. But yeah, continuing on my week, I did put down here we all just want to play Baldur's Gate 3. That is part of my week. Started up Reservation Dogs, very good. Christian, I don't know if you watched the 3rd episode yet, but that 3rd episode is really good. They do it weekly too, so nice thing to kind of hold off and wait to watch. But that 3rd episode got fucking rough, man. But it was a good episode.
I looked over at Alexa when I was watching, and I said, I'm really sick and tired between this show and The Bear, them finding ways to just really ratchet up your own anxiety about certain things, and you're just like, why don't we just get back to the laughs, huh?
Make me laugh, funny people.
I'm tired of walking away from this
Christian,
being fucking sad.
if that's what you want, I got something for you during my week.
There you go. Okay. Also finished The Expanse. Finally watched that finale, a season finale according to Amazon. So I saw that it was 2023 when that came out. I forgot that it was just last year. Oh, this year. Is it this year?
Mm-hmm.
There's still a high possibility we might get another season. Obviously, the writer's strike is not going to help that, but there is still a high because they didn't say series finale on any of the text.
I thought it was
when I watched the last episode, it said season finale. Nothing said series finale, and they do leave it slightly open.
And he didn't have it in his heart to go and Google because he didn't want to be shown.
I haven't yet. Finale. Sooner or later, I'm gonna be sitting there like 6 months later. I'm like, I haven't heard anything about the new season.
No, hey, here you go. Well, wait.
Because I know the game came out.
It says, this is of last year. It says the Expanse showrunner answers series finale burning questions, and hence the show may not be done after all. But that was last year, so I don't know. Maybe it never made enough money to justify season 7 and beyond.
It was a shorter season for sure.
It was, but you never know because remember what happened? Well, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but it was a sci-fi show, and sci-fi did what sci-fi does, which was F it up completely, and people were like, this is way too good to let you ruin, and brought it to Netflix. So I guess it's always possible Amazon could let it go and somebody else could pick it up. That would be surprising that if Amazon with all of their throwaway money would let it go, that someone else would still come by and pick it up for a season. Sure. That would be weird because I don't see it driving that much, when it comes to subscriptions. But hey man, if you want to keep giving it to me, I'll keep watching because it has some of the best sci-fi shots of anything I've ever seen.
And they did the same thing they did at the first season ending, which was gave you enough to there's still plenty of questions you could get answered, but it's a good spot to where if you were to walk away from it there, not the worst case scenario. But very interesting ending. I liked it. Other than that, we all watched a bunch of Evo. And I think it's safe to say that we all probably most likely almost we're like 95% sure going to Evo next year. Because it just seems like a really fun thing to do. They're selling out, so like we got to get on tickets as soon as we're up there. Make sure we get Sunday tickets because that's going to be the main day we're going to want to go and go up there and have some fun. But yeah, it seems like a fun time. I hear it's...
I'm going for the weekend. Fuck that.
Well, I'm going for the weekend, but like we want to make sure to get Sunday tickets.
Yeah. I kind of want to enter at least one game.
Oh yeah, you gotta put yourself in the bracket, see where you are. You just gotta know.
I want you to enter because I saw the winners game sticks, like the bronze, silver, and gold game sticks that you win.
So cool.
Like you have a year to train, Christian.
No,
Everybody starts out fresh at MK1. You have a year to become a
they
master.
Don't start fresh at MK1. They're already
MK1.
fucking lapping MK1 already.
Yeah, dude, no, it's not happening. And also because there's always the inevitable person where you hope when you sign up for a game at Evo, you're hoping that at least for your first couple matches, you're getting matched with somebody of some, similar level. Skill, right? Mm-hmm. And then you realize, like, okay, as I go up in this bracket, I'm going to start bumping into killers, and I'm probably going to get, just beat up on, and then I'll move on. But there are always the people who sign up and it's their unlucky day and they get fucking Daigo as their first match of the day or Jay Wong, and you have to look and go like, okay, I'm going straight to losers bracket, like immediately. Like I'm sitting down with one of the most decorated fighting game players of all time.
I don't mind getting my shit pushed in as long as it's really fucking.
Here's
hey, and they could lose too. I mean, one of them didn't win. Daigo got knocked out, right? So
by another killer.
Somebody can.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, Daigo got knocked out, but Daigo. This is the thing.
You could be toying with me.
Yes,
you need to get good at an obscure fighting game. Like just something random.
But those people already are just like super into it.
Yeah, there's already
been playing it for 10 years.
Yeah.
Sure.
The thing is, what really though is what people don't understand is it's not like other kind of like, I guess like like a sporting event thing where you're like, oh man, like fighting or whatever, and you're like, oh, everybody's got a puncher's chance. You know what I'm saying? If I catch him just right, he could go right down. It's like, no, dude, that's not what's gonna like.
That's not how it works.
Yes, like you can be sitting there and thinking to yourself, man, I don't know, dude. Daigo's been playing for 20 years. Like, he's got to be getting old and he's got to be slowing down. No, it's still fucking Daigo, dude. Like, you're gonna get
even near his deathbed, he will be 10 times better than me, at least.
Yes,
because the thing that would get me. So like. I was gonna say Christian and I watched. Preston, I think you saw it too, but there was a blind fighter who won a round, like took a game on someone who was
no, he won the set.
He won the set. Christian and I were talking about it. We're like, he's blindfolded. So at first I was like, I think he's blind, but I'm not sure. So we found out he was blind. He won the set, and we were like, how did he do it? Did he have a spotter, essentially somebody like talking him? Was it voice assistance? No, he was just listening to like certain sounds. That's the moment I would retire, taking nothing away from this player who is blind. That would be the moment I realize, I will never be better than that, right? Like to where I can just hear stuff. It's like, I'm good. This is it for me. Thank you. Goodbye.
See, I don't. Yeah, I don't. When I go to when I watch Evo, or if I watch even stuff like at GDQ, or even like real sport, like with like basketball and all that other stuff, like there's something in it about watching something be done at the highest level that it can be done at, and then being like, this brings me joy, and now brings me more enjoyment when I go to do it on my own, right? Like the first thing Preston and I did the day after Evo got done, we were like, all right, dude, let's hop in and get some sets. Let's get in there.
Yeah.
And we had a good time. Like it was, we just ripped through some sets and.
You see what happens there. You're like, oh, you can do that with Cammy. Okay, all right. Let's see how I can. This is if I can do that against Christian.
Yeah, or you see that people. It's just when you watch Evo, especially for Street Fighter 6, you might come away from that thinking it's time to nerf Ken. it's time to nerf Ken. I think Ken needs to be
There's
nerfed.
always one of those characters.
His
hey.
crypto bro supremacy has ran long enough, and it's time.
You didn't get the clone match, so you got what you wanted.
I was just happy, but man, I am not gonna lie. I would have been really happy to see Blanca fucking win a tournament.
Yeah, when I saw him move to Luke, I'm like, oh, come on, just let's go full Blanca.
Did you see the video that came out afterwards of him faking people out in the stadium? Where he would go to Luke and they'd be like, "Oh," then he'd go back over to Blanca and they'd be like, "Yeah!" And then he would go back over to Luke and they'd be like, "Oh," and then he'd go back over to Blanca and they're like, "Yeah!" And then he would do it and they like erupted. There's that video that I sent you guys in the Discord that was like when the reset bracket happened. So when Minar, I found out his name, by the way, is Mena RD.
Yeah.
So even though it looks like Menard, it's Mena RD.
Because he's from the Dominican Republic. Or Republica Dominica. Yeah.
For him, yes. But so that's what he did. So either way, but when the bracket reset happened, the minute that I said to myself, I will not miss next year's Evo, regardless of what's going on, was in that moment that hole is fully sold out, right? Like 50,000 fucking people, or however many it was. It was a lot. And it's that stadium in Vegas, and it just fucking erupts. You see the whole place shoot up out of their seats. The lights kick on. It screams just the walls might as well be coming down. It's so much noise. And you see him, like, he stands up and he's all excited about the fact that he reset the bracket. Because for those who don't know, the way fighting game tournaments work is it's double elimination. So everybody starts out in the winner's bracket. And then if you lose, you go down to loser's bracket, and that can take you all the way to loser's finals. When you win that puts you at grand finals with the winner's final champion. Now, at that moment, it's still the best out of 3, but you have to do it twice. So if you're coming from losers, you have to beat them twice in that first set, and that resets you both to even, and then you'd have to do it again to actually take the tournament, whereas the guy coming from winner's bracket only has to do it, or the player coming from winner's bracket will only have to do it once.
Which is a fair way to do it. Otherwise,
absolutely.
You would have people that would sandbag, right? You would sandbag. You would go to the losers. You would just clean house in the losers bracket. And end up in
Also,
the
gives you that second chance. You go to the losers bracket, like, okay, well, I can try one more time, go through.
And man, I gotta say, there is nothing. I'm of two minds. There's sometimes where I really like to see when somebody just fucking dominates a game, like, and you just watch them stomp through everybody. Like Preston and I we watched the Guilty Gear finals together, the top 6, and Leffen,
Happy Chaos,
who is an ex Smash player, but he was playing Happy Chaos or Strive, and put on an absolute fucking clinic for these people. I mean, everybody got stomped. And to the point where he's at grand finals, you're playing the second best player essentially in the world. You're playing the second best Strive player, and he perfected him.
More than once.
The guy didn't even get a hit.
Yeah.
Like,
poor guy's sitting there just taking it.
Yeah, there's nothing he could do.
Because he doesn't know. He's like, there's no openings. If I get an opening, it's not going to last long times. Yeah, it's going to be bad.
And he got worked. I mean, just
He feels bad. Or looks
it
funny.
was, but it was one of those things. So for me, like, I'm looking at it, and I was like, this is what I would look like if I was fighting this guy. Like, that's how I feel like it would look like, and that's how bad he was putting it to this dude.
That's in finals.
So in one hand, I love stuff like that because I'm just like, dude, you are seeing somebody who is just
top of the game,
locked in, right? Like, I love we've seen that stuff in the NBA for, right? Like, there's certain games and certain teams that just, like, we talked about, like, the Warriors were that for a couple of years, where it's just like, oh, dude, these guys are unbeatable. Like, they are so laser focused. There's nothing that anybody can do. They can't be stopped, and that's just what it was. However, I think my favorite, though, is when a bracket reset happens. When somebody comes, like it happened with, 3 years ago now, Sonic Fox and Goichi were playing Dragon Ball FighterZ when that was new. It might even be 4 years ago now. Either way. So Goichi's a Japanese player. He's been in the FGC for a very, very long time, and he was playing Dragon Ball Fighters, and he was the winners bracket. Sonic Fox had gotten knocked out before, and was in the losers bracket. Came back, got in there, and then just like I don't know what happened, but like he got the reset, and then you could see that. Just the confidence was just like pushed down through the ground for Goichi, where he was like, "Oh shit! Like now I actually really like I could lose this now. Like this could
I
be
don't
bad."
know what to do.
And Sonic Fox was like, in the inverse, his confidence is through the fucking roof now because he's like, "That's goddamn right. Now it's even. Now I'm here. Like this is it. This is the last thing I got to do." Seeing that energy shift and like the competition that ends up coming out of bracket reset moments are my absolute favorites.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Fun times. Yeah, other than that, that's the game we're talking about later on. That's all I got.
All right. My week, I played one game, which is Final Fantasy 14, because I was traveling, and it's really what I had on my Steam Deck. On the airplane, I played like 5 minutes more of Day the Diver, and in that 5 more minutes, I continued the story and like unlocked a whole new feature, a whole new part of the game.
Yep,
so now it's
even more.
Now it's a restaurant manager and a fisher and a one of those farm games because you can farm fish, and it's just so much. It's a photography game. I'm also finding places that I can take pictures of certain fish. So much. Anyway, so I didn't do much. So in not doing much, what I did have time to do was watch some TV shows. And I watched a new show that gave me this great idea. I want to try something new. I want to put this out to the audience here. I want to try something called Alex Does So You Don't.
Oh, no. You've tried to make this a thing before. It's not a thing before.
Yep.
No, you just like watching shit. That's what this is.
I did it for Uncharted
It's not just watching, it's also playing. So I will be willing, if you have audience, if you have suggestions, if there's something you want somebody to dabble in, but you don't want to dabble in it, let me know, and I will dabble in it.
You're going to be doing one by the end of the year anyways.
I am still in first, just so everyone knows.
Yeah, but everything else
I
is
keep
released,
getting crap about Final Fantasy. I understand what projected points are. I am still in first place.
Yeah, but you don't have any releases left for the rest of this year.
Talking about the Fantasy League, everybody, just so you know.
And
yeah, but that's also because never mind. I'm not gonna say what I'm doing.
It's gonna take too long.
I still have spots to fill, is all I'm saying.
And
so it's fine.
You got a nasty draft that happened just the other day.
What?
The Atlas whatever game that you drafted.
Oh, Atlas.
I knew that.
A fresh 67.
That's -3. Who cares? I got like 28 points twice. The only thing I'm worried about,
Every
honestly,
point counts,
is
man.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man's
the only thing
gonna
I'm worried
hurt.
about Spider-Man.
Spider-Man's gonna hurt,
That's
man.
fine.
All right.
Spider-Man's gonna hurt. But keep in mind, I don't have to end up in first. I just don't have to end up in last.
Fair, yeah.
And that
There's
I'm
people who are
right
not
now.
playing the game, so.
But right now
out.
you're projected last.
Projected. I've played fantasy sports
It's projected
for decades.
Fair,
Projected points mean nothing. Like mean
what
nothing,
happens is what happens. Okay.
Right?
Dude, if you have to play
it could take one bad article or like one bad comment about Starfield from a dev that gets taken the wrong direction, and that launch could be trash. Things change all the time. You never know. That's all I'm saying.
If you have to play Gollum this year, I am going to figure out a way to get an audiobook recording made of your review that you have to write so I can listen to it, and it will put me to sleep every night.
We'll post it on YouTube. It's fine.
I'll just record it. We'll just record my review.
Yes,
Sorry,
yeah.
derail. Alex does what so you don't.
Chapter 1. Alex does so you don't. So here's what I did. I don't know how I feel about it. And look, here's the thing. I don't think it'll always be bad, right? Because it's just one of those things where, like, if you want me to dabble in something because you're not quite sure, maybe it'll end up being good. Who knows? But
No, because you guys
I
only
watched-
do this with shit that you know is bad.
Sometimes you
I
just gotta
watched
know.
a television show. Sometimes you
Just
gotta
gotta
know.
You don't.
Allie was out. I needed something that I could do in the background with like animals and stuff. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna turn on. I'm gonna turn on a video game adaptation of a TV show. We're gonna see how this is.
Yes.
I'm in an app and it just pops up and I just need to know. So I turn on Twisted Metal.
Yeah. Something that totally
So
needed
let's
to
talk
be
about-
a TV show.
Let's talk about Twisted Metal. Also, Christian, do not let this man say, oh, something that didn't need to be TV, blah, blah, blah. Because he said the other day he wanted to watch
I
it,
do.
understanding that it doesn't take itself seriously, and he thinks it's going to be good. So don't let
Not
him
good.
act like
Me?
he doesn't. No, Preston. Don't
Oh.
let
Your
Preston
finger
act
doesn't
like
do that on my screen.
He
pal.
doesn't
You gotta
care.
go outside.
Yeah, you're pointing.
No,
You're
well,
pointing at me
it's-
right now.
Well, it's pointing to Preston on mine. We'll do
There
this
you
one.
go.
How about
That works
now?
better.
Yeah.
Good,
Good
good. There we go.
But
Don't
he has
let him act
that
like-
doesn't help because he has the same disease as you do. You guys sit there
Yeah.
and you're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I'm performing this public service by watching the fucking Uncharted movie," even though we know
Yeah.
it's going to be. And the real reason you watch the Uncharted movie is because you guys, deep
I
down,
need to know.
You deep down, you either really
need to
you were
know.
just hoping that you would like. No, you don't need to know because you already know. And this is like if I came on this podcast and I was like, guys, I bought the day one edition of Gollum and I bought all the DLC. You guys go, why? Because it's Lord. I gotta know, but you already know. It's got a fucking 4 everywhere. It's bad. No, man.
No, so here's the thing about this game or this TV show. This TV show is getting 8s across the board.
I don't know why.
Solid 8s. Everywhere I've looked, it is getting 8s across the board, which is the most mind-blowing
Is that
thing
critics
to me.
or
And
is
I think
is that audience score?
yes, all of it. Literally all of it. Whether you're talking OpenCritic, Metacritic, whether you're talking every episode broken down on IMDb, whether you're talking Rotten Tomatoes, like it does not matter. It is getting 8s across the board. Now, I think that actually says something about our state of media and the people that watch these shows today. So, just you guys, I'm sure played Metal or Twisted Metal. Yeah.
I like the new one a lot.
Does anybody? Does anybody know the story of Twisted Metal? Like, do you
No,
remember?
because
the
it doesn't
story of
matter.
Twisted
No.
So it was a very simple premise, which was each year a guy named Calypso has just like this derby where everybody kills each other all like until one person is left and then you get like whatever you
Sounds
want,
right.
Like that's the whole
Gets the
premise
wish,
is you get
yeah.
you get the one wish, right? This show does not do any of that.
Cool.
Like it is not a derby. So let me tell you about this show for my week, since I did not dive into any video games. And you can make your own decisions. you can make your own decisions on what you think. As always, there will be adult language, and it will be minor spoilers. So if anybody does not want to know,
Spoilers
figure
for
it out.
fucking Twisted Metal. Yeah. Gonna be real upset.
Yep. Yeah. So, you turn it on, you're like, okay, Anthony. I like Anthony
Sure.
Mackie. I like Stephanie. What's her name? Beatrice. Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah.
She was Rosa on Brooklyn
She's
Nine-Nine,
awesome.
right? She's hilarious. She's fantastic. This show starts off in the first episode being so heavy-handed to tell you that the show's name is Twisted Metal.
Oh.
To the fact that like it opens on Anthony Mackie driving in a mall. You don't know how he's gotten in this mall. Post-apocalyptic world. He's running. Don't you dare.
Phone's coming on.
Don't ruin this. You need to know.
I don't.
So he's driving around in a mall and he hits a little like for some reason there's like a closed EB Games and he hits like a game shelf that just happens to be outside the door because that's what happens in malls, right? And of course what lands on his windshield? Twisted Metal PS2. And it sits there for like a good 6 seconds and he's like driving and he's like looking at it, like trying to figure out what it is, and you're just like within seconds you're just like I know what I
Get it.
turned on. Like Thank you very much.
So the game exists in the show?
It does. I guess it would be canon, right? Like at one point before the
Games,
fall of the world. So the way this the premise here is that something bad happened in the world. We don't know what happened, but of course post-apocalyptic, because that's every video game adaptation now. Thank you, Last of Us, is post-apocalyptic, and everybody moved into cities, and everybody walled off their cities, and everybody outside of the cities just turned into fucking Mad Max. That is what has happened, right? So I thought there could be some charm because you have Anthony Mackie, you have Stephanie, whatever her name is.
You didn't believe that.
You get there with some charm with those two. They write Anthony Mackie in the first 3 episodes to be the most unlikable character, and it's not even that like he's an a-hole. It's not that at all. He does not stop quipping. There are quips every 2 seconds for the entire 27 minute episode, however long it is. It never stops. Like, even when other people are talking, he's just quipping constantly. But he also plays this weird character of like, I don't remember the fall, so I don't remember life before. So like, there's a joke, if you want to call it that, where he meets a rich person in a city, and she's like, if you do something for me, I'll get you your wildest dream. And he's like, you can get me 2-ply toilet paper. And she's like, better than that. He goes, 3-ply?
I saw that trailer,
and like that is him the whole time. And you're just like, I like Anthony Mackie and everything I've ever seen him, and I have never hated a human being more than by the 3rd episode of the show.
See, this is where I cannot abide by this anymore. It changed. You knew that this was happening. Like, you were watching all of this shit just get shoveled into your eye holes.
Yeah.
And yet, at the very end, you went, I'll play episode 2. And then you sat there and you did it. And then not only that, but then you're saying, and you went, yeah, I'm going to need, for science, I'm going to need to play episode 3. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself,
no, I didn't even think of bringing this up on the podcast until after I finished the entire season, to be fair.
Ew.
So I wasn't watching it for the pod. It was once I got to the end of it and saw, like, why do people love this so much? Because to Preston's point, you think like, oh, if people do love it, like, maybe eventually it gets better and it leans into what it is. And,
it's just
and you
dumb
think,
stuff, like, for sure, yeah.
Let me say this. It absolutely gets better. So, like, instead of just the death race of what the show is, Anthony Mackie is what they call a milkman. And essentially he lives outside the walls and he just runs important stuff from walled city to walled city, right? So like they rely on him to deliver medicine, which you find out in the first episode, and whatever. So he plays like an important role in this world. He's just like a terribly written character. In episode 3 is when he gets paired up with her character, whose name is Quiet. And their chemistry together is fantastic. They write him much better, and she's well written from the start. So, like, their chemistry is great. Their jokes are great. Like, she levels out his character in the show to where when they are on screen, they're really fun for the most part. There are things that they do that I don't love. And here's my problem with the show, and here's what I think. Here's what I'm not sure how to process. The show itself wins you over by the end of it. Either that, or if you just binge watch it, you get a little bit of Stockholm syndrome. So by like episode 8, you're like, oh, okay, I guess I'll continue on. It's kind of good, right? So I'm not really sure what it is, but it does kind of win you over because their characters lead the way. There are a ton of plot holes throughout, and you kind of have to get by those.
It's a twisted metal.
At one point, Anthony Mackie's talking to another character, and they're like, you can't go to New Chicago. You have to go through Vegas. You know who owns Vegas? And he's like, I know. And then the person that owns Vegas is Sweet Tooth, and he all of a sudden runs across Sweet Tooth, and he's never heard of nor seen Sweet Tooth. So, like, how do you know who owns Vegas if you've never heard of him? Then on the flip side, he meets Calypso behind a screen. He's like, "You're the guy everybody's talking about," and they have never said the word Calypso in the show up to that point. So like, you have to. It's poorly written in that sense, but like, it does start to win you over because the two characters on screen together and their backstories and stuff are kind of compelling and kind of fun. Here's my problem with the show, and here's why I can't like give this an 8 and don't understand.
I've heard nothing
either.
but problems so far.
Yeah. No, I know. It's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. I felt that this show was made by and made for, and it probably is, right? But like made by and made for capital G gamers, right? What did I say, Preston, on your stream? I said it's more just like
bro dudes,
dick fart and dildo jokes because we're bros and women are objects, right?
Fuck yeah, brother.
And
bro,
yeah,
bro
and I have a few jokes, if you will, that stood out to me where I was literally like, there were moments in the show where I was like, I just don't know, like I don't know about continuing on because like you see two characters and they're really good, but everything else around them is just so off the wall. And in my opinion, and maybe it's because I'm getting older, like maybe I'm an old person now, like a get off my lawn person, but like there were jokes that were made that go beyond leaning into the ridiculousness of the premise and being funny on that, where you go, we have to be outrageous, otherwise people won't laugh at our show. So we'll be so outrageous that we'll get the Rick and Morty crowd, and like that will carry us, sure. Right? So here's an example of a couple. It's one whole episode where they get taken by the religious men. Unlike other shows, it's not like crazy, like straight line religious people that are like, I don't want to offend anybody here, but you know, like the crazy conservative, right? This is, they're religious because they believe that they are gods and their women are goddesses, and like they just rule the world and they rule themselves. So it's more of a hedonist thing, right?
Sure.
But that's how they see their religion. So they first walk into this camp. They're trying to sneak in to get something that was stolen from them. And somebody hands them a drink, and they're like, "What's this?" And they're like, "Rum and Coke." Like, awesome. Boop, drink it. And one of them's like, "That's really powdery." And he's like, "Yeah, that's the Coke. Because it's rum and cocaine." And you're just like, okay. So
I remember my first beer.
on the nose, right? But then the head leader of this place comes in while they're all like kind of tripping, and it is Pimento from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Oh. Right?
Yeah.
Is that his name? Like Rosa's fiance, the guy that plays the same person, like always. I think that is just like him in real life, who I do find funny in most things.
Yeah, he is funny.
But he is funny, but because he's just like outrageous, right? So he walks in and he sees this car that's there, and he's like, "This is a sexy car." He's like, "Man, I love this car. I'm gonna fuck this car," right? And that's fine. It's dumb. Say what you want to say. Like, you've heard.
Well, that actor alone,
but they take
I can see him saying that like anything he's played.
Yeah, right. And like you're like, okay, it is what it is. But here's again where the capital G gamer takes it a step further to like get the joke that didn't need, or get the laugh that didn't need to be gotten. So everybody starts chanting, "Fuck that muff," like the muffler. So like, legitimately, he's going to fuck the car, and he tries until a fight breaks out to fuck the car, right? And like these are these ridiculous lowbrow jokes where you're just like, if you did what you were hoping, where you didn't take yourself seriously, you had a couple of good charismatic leads and you could have a really good show. Why did you go the way that you went? Like, there was another episode where one guy, and I forget his name, was called such, whatever it was, because he had a huge dick. And they're like, "Okay, so you have a huge dick, so what?" And he's like, "I smash things with my dick." and you're like, okay, that's the end of this conversation. Well, they pay that off by the end of the episode, where there is a conversation in a bar, and everyone's like, oh, be quiet, he's gonna do his thing, and he's just like holding his pants tight, and underneath it is one of those, what I can only imagine is like a 20-inch dildo that he is holding under his pants, just swinging it with a watermelon below him. And some nonsense ensues, and they end the show by him slamming it on the watermelon and the watermelon exploding. And you're just like, I just don't understand why.
You do
could have. But you could, like, legitimately, if you took the stuff out, you had a premise and you had characters and you had people that could give you a solid 8 show.
But that's because most things today, and you know this, so I don't know why you even are putting it. Most things today are not made earnestly. They are made by committee. Like, almost the current state of this bitch of an earth we find ourselves on, as far as media creation is concerned, is spent trying to suck all creativity out of the process completely and have a design by committee, so that you have a bunch of dickheads in a boardroom that have completely lost touch with what it means to be a regular human being that can go and enjoy things and have a story told or what the fuck ever. And they go, okay, guys, what are the boxes that we need to hit? Bam, 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 bam. Cool. Done. All right, now let's do it from as cheap as humanly possible. Let's get the people that we need to get on it to sell it, to make this hot sizzle reels. And then I'll see you all in Cancun after we've gotten $40 bazillion. It's why we are still.
But what they did, is
Tooth.
harder. I mean, if you look at The Witcher, right? Same thing. What you did is you made your job harder to make a worse product. You had source material that you can take from that was successful, that you can just shop for shop. But
they gotta pay
you
for
did
that
none
shit.
of that. Like, you did from scratch.
You are assuming,
to make your product.
You are assuming that they made their job harder by you're looking at it through the wrong lens. You're looking through it at the lens of a regular human that enjoys art and wants to take in whatever the creative process might be that person is putting out, either on a canvas, through a video game, through a movie, through a book, whatever the fuck. Whatever medium you're choosing, you enjoy having a good thing being, and sometimes shit, but most of the time you enjoy good things coming at you. In these rare instances,
you gotta have the gamut.
You
right?
don't.
You
don't.
Look, for every succession,
No.
you have
your
Twisted Metal.
Your time would have been better spent rewatching Succession, I can assure you. Anyways, but you're coming at it from that angle, and that's not the angle that these people operate on. They are only concerned with getting somebody's eyeballs, regardless of quality, on their thing, and that's it. Now, I do feel for the people that are put in those roles that just want to do a good job, right? Like, I'm sure between Anthony Mackie, Will Arnett, I forget her name.
Will Arnett's voice, because that's all that he did.
Yeah, which is
Samoa Joe, the wrestler, with Sweet Tooth. But those two together were great. But the character was bad, but they were a standout.
But that's because. But here's the thing. Sweet Tooth was never a good character. You want to know why? Because everybody in Twisted Metal was completely one-dimensional and was never meant to go any farther than, hey guys, we made a really cool arena car shooter. That's it. There's nothing else to it.
Goofy clown guy who drives an ice cream truck, and that's
because
how
only.
But the crazy thing is, in the game, Sweet Tooth actually had more of a story. Like, he was a psycho that killed his family and was out there to kill his, like, to get the one kid that got away. That's actually more development.
They got more development.
That's more development than this character actually had.
My point is that they, like, I feel for those people because I know that they don't show up and they go, oh man, I'd love to just, like, fuck this up and make a bunch of people on the internet mad or whatever,
They're
right?
told
Like,
what to make.
That's exactly, and even at the director level, right? Like, I'm sure at a certain, but like because all that stuff comes from the top down. It's the same reason why we are still still getting all of these trash ass Transformers movies that are continuously bad. But you want to know why they keep? It's because overseas people show up to see the big spectacle, which is fair. You go do your thing. I'm not going to tell people how to spend their money. You can spend it better.
I actually kind of enjoyed this last one. It's kind of good.
I cannot
Not to be fair, I watched it. I watched it for free on like Peacock or whatever, but it's kind of good.
But it's not for free because you're paying for their service, so they're hoping that that's what you go do is go watch it on there.
But I'm paying for their service for
there.
soccer because that's where they show English Premiere, so I already own.
Whatever.
I'm already paying for it.
Either way,
they're already getting my money for soccer. It's the only place you can watch it. So it doesn't
way,
matter.
my point is that we should. All of these things could be way better. They're never going to be way better until you remove people making decisions that don't know how regular humans interact with things anymore, because that's not who these people are. They are only concerned with getting people to make the money for them so that they can continue to, Smaug's treasure hoarded up, and everybody else can sit there and eat up piggies, oink, 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 because that's all you guys do.
That's what it's going to do, apparently, because like I said, the reviews, at least the numerical reviews, are very high for this show. I still do not understand it. Like, if what we've said so far, you're like, oh, I want to check this out. If you're listening, you're like, oh, that sounds like it's for me. The other random things, I had like a ton of plot holes. There are stupid things in shows like this where like bullets don't hurt cars except when they do, but usually except when
it
they
matters,
don't, right? Like if the hero needs to blow you up, you're dead for sure. But like if you're the bad guy, bullets don't hurt cars. Like it's just not a thing. Every person in the show has a kink for no reason, and I think people misinterpret like damage
or whatever the fuck.
Damage for kinks, right? Like you can have damage baggage carrying people that don't just have kinks, but everybody in the show has a weird kink.
Lines up with
of
your
course,
tone
like
about
your
the show.
cop. Your cop is like abusive and aggressive, right? And then like you have the one that's just like into ultra violence, a little S&M and other stuff. It's just like everything's a stupid kink for no reason. And what I had, let's see what else I had. The whole show is for naught. So the lead into the second season, the cliffhanger, is this was all a test to find a great driver to compete in Calypso's challenge, which is actually what Twisted Metal is, right? Like in New Chicago or whatever, like that's what they do. So that's their hope. But this whole thing, he's getting a package on the most dangerous run in the country and back to deliver something important. And of course, when the main character, or not the main character, but the antagonist opens it up, what is it? It's frozen ice cream. Because you're in like the post-apocalyptic world. And what happens is she cracks open the ice cream and she takes a bite and she's like, oh, this is what I ordered. Disgusting, right? And she throws it down. It's like, why?
You should be asking
if that
why,
interests
but
you,
for a different reason.
If that interests you, feel free to check it out. Everybody gives it an 8. I would give it a 3 or 4. Please continue to drive over me with your car. It would be better than rewatching this show. With that being said, I feel bad for Anthony Mackie. I feel bad for Stephanie Patrice because it's not good work. Not good work at all.
As you said, I was thinking about watching
Anyway.
it. I'm not going to now. Especially since you said that there was like no, like the actual thing didn't happen until like next season. Like, why am I even going to watch it? If there's not going to be cool car shit that happens the entire time, I'm not sitting here to watch people talk. I'm sitting here to watch cars fight.
Cool car shit happens in the final episode, and cool car shit is like real loose.
I'll just play the fucking game again. It's fine.
It's just a bunch of cars doing donuts in a staged parking lot, and occasionally they set off an explosion or two, but they don't actually show anything fancy happen. There's no flipping, there's no car sitting. It's just like slow driving that they've sped up with a moving camera beside it, and then random explosions.
Shipping all CG and shipping crazy bullshit.
Yeah, not great. Not great. But with that being said, if there's something that you're wondering about and you don't know if it's going to be good or bad, and you want me to check it out before you do, feel free to let us know, and I will give you my opinion on that game, show, comic, whatever it may be.
You heard him.
So there you go. There you go. That was my
Testing
week.
room pod.
So with that,
gmail.com.
yeah, let's get into our. I should probably do a caveat to that. If you say, "Oh, I don't know, like how good Resident Evil is gonna be," because I don't like scary stuff. Reviews are out, so go after yourself. So with that, let's talk about the game that we played.
Let's
this week. Part
talk
2
about the game.
The game.
So Metro 2033. We are doing our part 2. So this is all of chapter 3 and all of chapter 4. So
somehow in these chapters, more happened and way less happened all at the same time, in my opinion.
Well, we'll get there. We'll see how. I don't know. I feel like just more happened, but we'll get there. So, so you start off with right where we left off with Bourbon getting pulled out by a bunch of bandits, right? And so you can either take his AK or you can leave it. It's up to you. I took it, but.
Well, I had like a pistol and something else. Of course, I'm going to
Yeah,
take
well, it was owed to me as well because I was supposed to get it regardless of whenever we reach the station anyway. So, so you get out and it is immediately go time. All these bandits are sitting here and you're trying to catch up to wherever Bourbon is being held. Now, you're going through this section and it's very clear that the game is like, hey, you can stealth here. If you would like to stealth here, you can stealth here. Or you can just fucking get after it, whichever one you want to go to. Now, I'm assuming I can already, but the smile on Preston's face, he went in guns blazing. And
No.
because I know, oh, okay, interesting. But I know, and Alex played this game about 3 hours before we were starting to record.
Literally playing it like 10 minutes before we were recording.
So I am very interested to hear opinions in general because I'm sure you were just pedal to the metal, just right through it and shooting at everything.
No, I started. Okay. So first of all, I started much earlier today, but I was doing it between other stuff. But to your point, what is stealth anyway?
Sure.
But just a longer way around.
What happens is,
Not wrong.
so Preston, I don't know if you noticed this then, but as you're going through stealth through this section, people start to drop that you're not shooting or hitting with anything. Did that happen in your did you notice that?
What do you mean shooting or hitting with anything?
Like people that
So you maybe didn't throw a knife, but
they died anyway, and maybe you heard something go by you and you didn't know what happened there. You're like, I didn't shoot that guy.
So
really,
what happened to me is like I start stealthing. This happened pretty much throughout the game, which is what I do is I start stealthing, and then either someone accidentally sees me because I wasn't paying attention to a certain person, or like I accidentally hit a tripwire because apparently I'm not super observant and don't see those. But something always small happens to where I fuck it up, and then I'm starting to do the run.
okay. So what you end up a thing that'll happen. I don't know, Alex. Do you know what I'm talking about, or everybody died before you could notice what I'm talking about here?
I don't know that I noticed that. There was a one point there in the very beginning where the apparition we have seen a couple of times is standing on the other side of a door and he's pointing this way and says something to you and then disappears.
So in this, what'll end up as you get through this section, you get through the end and you find where Bourbon is at, and he was in the middle of he's gonna get executed, right? And he sees you and he goes to call out for you, and the first thing that is, he shoots the guy, but the other guy, as he's going down, just sort of holds his machine gun and goes up and clips Bourbon, and Bourbon dies. Now, what you notice, though, is that the dude, before he can actually do anything, somebody shoots him, drops him, and he comes out of the vent, and it's a character that we don't know, but his name is Khan, and he is clearly like a fucking Navy SEALs person. Go ahead. And
I had to. That's all I can think about.
So what you figure out is that, at least for me, is that he is actually the one who's following you around, sort of in the vents above you, shooting at people and taking them out if they get too close to you. So if you make it to a certain part doing stealth, you will go through, and he'll start picking people off that are either around you or coming near you, which I actually think is a really cool touch.
I remember him
that is
saying
a
that
cool
later
touch.
on, like once it got towards the end, he was like kind of like let you know that he was helping you out. Like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
I didn't notice it, but sure, okay.
Yeah. So you get through with him, and he is somehow like vaguely familiar with where you have to go. He doesn't know exactly why, but he knows you need to go to Polis. I already know. So you're like, oh, okay, you must be part of this hunter squad then, clearly. So if you're already sort of vaguely familiar with what's going on. Now, the other part of this, though, is that he is very much into the, let's call it, abnormal part of this world and things like that. And what happens through the next couple sections that you're with him is you are going through and experiencing all of the supernatural stuff that happens in this world. So he has the ghosts that you're in the first part of the game, you're like, is everybody seeing this or is it just me? And it's very clear, like, he's like, no, man. Like, we're all seeing this. Like, this is what's happening. And then there's the crazy part where, so you have to follow him along, right? And he's like, follow straight behind me. Do not deviate. Do not run into them. Do not do anything. Move out of the way when they start to come, right? And there's that section where you come to the side and a ghost train comes, and he's basically
like Ghostbusters 2 style.
Yeah, and he basically
cool.
and he explains like all of these ghosts are reliving the moment in their that is just like there's certain places in the world now where time is just in a loop for these
I liked
ghosts.
his explanation to that, which was that like we nuked it so hard that we nuked heaven and hell, so there's no place for these souls to go when they die. I thought that was like one of the cool, like that's really cool, like kind of like reason that you would have for them to go be here.
He even said, he was like, it's not the best ending, but definitely the one we deserve.
Yeah.
And it is such a good line. So Khan is at, like, I love this whole section because it's somebody is finally going like, hey man, you might not know, but I'm about to tell you, like, explain all this wild shit that you've been seeing that you might not have seen just from living in your station, right? So as you go through, then you run into the anomalies. So there's this new force of nature that has been created since the nuclear sort of like war that
little spark.
Yeah, it's a spark, and it goes through, and it's what it seems like based off of Khan's explanation is that it reacts to movement alone. So if
you've seen it. It was in the beginning too, like when we were on the train car. Like you see it coming behind.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes everybody pass out that first time.
Yeah. Now, but see, it does things like sometimes for us it made everybody pass out when it ran past all those Nasalises that you end up because there's a defense part
fire
where he's like, hey, we gotta like these people are coming or all these things are coming, so we gotta stand our ground before we can move on. And that wave of his subsidiary, there's a lot of them that come through there, and then it's a really cool moment where Khan sort of turns around and goes, "Nah, don't even worry about it. You're about to see what the anomaly can do. Like, don't even waste the ammo.
Don't bother, getting into this."
And you're like, "What?" And then because there's a mad amount of them still charging through the tunnels, and it just comes through and torches them. They all just spontaneously combust, burn away to ash, and then that's it. It moves on. And so that's when you start making your way through the train, and there's more ghosts to be at, and also covered in extremely thick and nasty spider webs. That is unfortunate.
And if I know Christian, he was just like me, to where it's like every time that you see them, your lighter pops out immediately.
So the very first part of this game, when you go get the AK, right, from Bourbon, literally there's spiders, and I took the knife and did to every single one, and then from then on it was flames.
Yeah,
to all of them.
So
because they're not spiders, there's something grosser.
Yeah, something
they're like big. Yeah, they're definitely nuclear spiders for sure.
Yeah,
So
disgusting.
I remembered the scene. I remembered the fact that the train had like the really thick spiderweb things. So instead of doing the lighter thing that it wants you to do, where you just sort of lean through, and you might actually see it on the gameplay down there in the corner. But I just took the
Incendiary
napalm grenades,
Yeah.
and I let one of those go off in that train, and I was like, "Good, go fuck yourself. I hope you all die." But yeah, so then I guess that'll be a good point to hear how you guys are feeling so far after we well, no, so we'll go a little bit. So then we make it to the armory station with him, and then I'll stop there. So we make it to the armory stop with Khan, and at one people are very excited to see. They're always like, "Oh shit, dude, it's Khan. He's helped us out before." Blah blah blah. You have another defensive thing that you have to. Well, so in that moment is when you get to that station. Is they're like, "Hey man, it's for real here.
Yeah.
Like
the Reds are here. Yeah.
Well, not just that, but you're sitting there and you're like, the monsters are pushing, and they've been pushing this whole stuff, and so you actually have to run to these different sides and set bombs off to sort of collapse part of the tunnels to stop all the Nosalises.
You had to blow up a vent because they're coming through a vent on the right, and then collapse the tunnel on the left.
That's
that was fun.
That's where I got stuck a little bit.
And I liked it because there's if you're running low on ammo by that point, Khan will tell you like, hey, by the way, you can, if a lot of them start to chase you, bring them back here and we'll smoke them. Like, so don't, and you can absolutely lead, like all those enemies will follow you, and you can start ringing some of the alarm bells to get them to follow you, and then you can run straight back and they will smoke every single one of them, and then you can run back and do whatever.
Those enemies, they're constantly respawning, right? Like there's not an end to them.
No, because they're coming from coming from the outside, so you have to blow up their entry points to stop them from.
So I was having trouble like finding out exact locations. Like I know you can pull out your little notepad or whatever and kind of like your little clipboard and kind of figure out where you're going, but like at first like I'm having a hard time finding out, and then I find like after you get done with blowing up everything, there's that little crevice that you can get out of. I tried to run to that first. So I'm like, I can see that, and I'm like, oh, let's try to get into there. And it like automatically killed me. Like I get like stuck. It got stuck behind a whole bunch of cornered by a whole bunch of those things. But you can't go anywhere after that. And it's like it like fades to white and like tries to kick you out of that area.
It bumps you back. Yeah, it bumps you back. So we're like dead center is what you learn after you blow stuff up. That's where you need to go. Yeah. But the hole is still there. So yeah, every time you walk to that hole,
pops you out.
It
they want you to do
the
other thing.
Yeah. Nope.
So I mean, I got stuck there mainly because I would get overwhelmed a lot by those Nosalises. So I ended up just being like, I get to a place, I take out one or two of them, then I can continue walking a little bit more. I take out one or two of them just to keep it to where there's only like 2 or 3 around me instead of having like 5. And then I'm super fucked because all I got is the shotgun right now. The pistol's kind of there, and the assault rifle is not doing dick to these guys. Like the pistol works, the shotgun kind of works, but that assault rifle doesn't do shit. And I was trying to use that for a while.
Which shotgun are you using?
So at first I was using just the double barrel, but then now I have the one that uses like the 5 or 6 shots, and that still works, but it only works for like 2 or 3. So once you get like 5 or 6, then you have to reload the thing. I'm like, okay, well this is gonna fuck me.
It depends. If you get a headshot when they're running at you, it's instant kill with that shotgun.
And if you buy the upgrades for it, you can that shotgun shoots fucking far.
Oh, I have it now. Yeah, I'm keeping that.
So you finish that section though, and then Khan leads you through the back, and he says, "Hey, this whole like this little tunnel, you have to do this part on your own. I can't follow you for right now." And he takes you through this shrine that these people had left for all these different people that had passed or whatever. And so he opens the thing and he goes, "This will take you to the armory. You'll have to go. Be careful, by the way, because it's a full-on communist base. So like, just try to blend in. Talk to my friend the blacksmith. He'll get you hooked up. You're good to go, right?" So that's where we'll send, and we'll continue after that. But so I guess for that whole section, all the supernatural stuff, all that stuff, what were you guys feeling? Where you at?
So I like the supernatural stuff. All that stuff is cool. I felt that the combat was getting a little bit more difficult than what I had experienced earlier, especially like later on in the game. We'll get to that too. But yeah, they're coming at you a lot harder. So you're gonna know your weapons a little bit more. I did pick up one of those air guns, those compressor guns.
Yeah.
took me a hot second to figure out how to fucking pump them. Cause I'm like, what, like, do I hit the reload button? Like, what do I gotta do to pump this thing? And I found out, like, I even had told Alex while he was playing, I'm like, this is how you do it. Cause it doesn't tell you at all, really. I mean, it might tell you at one point, but it doesn't make it super obvious, which is like, you gotta go to your menu or inventory, like where like your health pack is and like your like, mask filters are. And there's another option to where it changes like you go to the pressure part of the gun and then you're using the trigger to pressurize it. And then you have to take it off again. And then you can go back to doing that. It took me a hot second to figure that out.
Now, this is an old game thing, but
sure.
You do get a tutorial for that, but they are locked to the earlier parts of the game because they're assuming that you would have already picked up
and mess with it.
Pressure gun by some point. They're all over the ground. So if you haven't messed with any of those or haven't done anything around those, and you're this part of the game, they're just assuming that you know how they work.
Same thing with, I mean, Knox talked about before you got into, with using grenades or anything like that. Anything else, anything other thrown that wasn't already your default thrown weapon. Because I was using knives, and I didn't really feel a need for grenades at the moment. But then you get into some of these later parts, like, okay, got all these novices, I would love to use a gun or a grenade. And it's like, how do I switch to it? And then you kind of figure out, like, go through the controls, like, oh, you press the Y button to go to your inventory, which is how you can slightly quick select guns as well, but also change your secondary throwing weapon.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a few things I learned going through the second part. It's just I'm still learning more of the game because I didn't mess with it in the first part, so therefore I'm kind of relearning it, and it's not helping you as far as holding your hand at all, trying to figure those things out. So you're just kind of pressing, like the old school style. You press the buttons to find out, right? Same way like finding out how to shoot a rocket in a certain game, like in Super Nintendo. It's like, okay, well, how do I use my rocket? I'm like, well, there's not a Y button or an X button next to it. So like, let's press all these buttons to find out what shoots my rocket, and we're going to spend one rocket to figure it out, kind of deal. And then figuring it out that way. And then Supernatural's cool. Combat got a little rough for me in certain parts, but I'm liking it.
Yeah, I would agree. Like when I hopped back in, I actually forgot how pretty it was for this old game to be redone. But when you get back in, that first part with Khan, like everything's green. Like you're in the tunnels where the water is green,
mushrooms,
green stuff on the wall, and green mushrooms. There's like stuff hanging down from the ceiling and whatnot. I love the supernatural part. This is the one place where I say that I feel like a lot more happened.
Have you played it on your PC yet?
I bought it on Xbox.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm playing on Xbox.
Oh, I didn't know if you got it on Steam. Okay.
No, it was on sale on Xbox.
$3,
for super cheap.
Watch this when this episode comes out. Watch because I have like the PC version, and it's all kicked up to everything. It has like the little physics engine boost that they put onto it. You'll be it still looks.
Maybe I'll do that because I can pop it up on Xbox on the PC, right?
Yeah.
And download it that way. Maybe I'll do that for the next one. But right now I'm playing on the Series S, and it's great. It looks great.
Yeah.
It was gorgeous. But this was my favorite part of everything we've done so far, where you start to learn a little bit more about this. The anomaly and some of the supernatural. You hear voices.
I love
people are just reliving that stuff in time. You hear them scream or talk. Or
the way he describes the anomaly too, I think is really cool. Where he talks about it being like fire, where he's like, it's not necessarily good or evil. It's just sort of is.
Yeah. It's there. Yeah. It's there. Yeah, it is. So I loved this. And to Preston's point, coming forward, I got stuck for a bit. Not here, actually. I did this quick because what I learned is instead of fighting, you can just run and do the things you need to do, and you'll get a cutscene or whatever, and you're safe.
Yep.
You survive. So I just ran real quick and like hit the button and planted the bombs and ran back. So I did that okay. I get stuck later, but when I get stuck later, just like Preston, I got stuck with two guns because I could not figure out how to pump the damn gun because I hadn't picked one up until Preston told me. But yeah, I really liked Khan. He's the best character we've met so far, the most intriguing character we've met so far, and this is definitely the part where the game's starting to turn. Now, I'm still not quite sure how this ties in and where we're going to bring in, like, mutants or aliens or whatever with supernatural, so I'm interested to see where it goes.
And remember, we did get a cutscene with them, too, where there's the part where you're in a sort of hallucination with Khan, where you're sitting there and the Homo Novus are talking to you, and they're like, they say something along the lines of, we're just like children want to understand their parents regardless of being hated. Like, we just are here to understand you. So you're like, okay, so you are clearly a result. Like you are aware that you are a result of our actions. So something we did created you, and they're like, we just want to understand and love you or whatever. And then the whole fucking wall.
That was that there with Connor? I know later in the game too. They're like, you do something, which we'll talk about in a minute, and they're like, oh, you did this. We're intrigued and we can't wait to learn more about you. And it's when you save another character later on.
Yeah, I think that is separate. I think, but yes, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, it's really interesting. I really enjoyed this part. Like I said, this is where I think this chapter more stuff happens than the other chapter we've done so far when it comes to progressing the story along. I think 4 slows down because it's very linear in what it is, and we'll talk about that big fight sequence. So that's why I say, like, I think more happened in this playthrough, which is chapter 3. At the same time, less happened, which in my opinion was chapter 4. So
yeah, we'll see. So you go through the tunnel and you make your way to the Armory Station, which is obviously the big giant communist base. And boy, is it for sure a communist base. Like, it is no joke. They are full on just hamming it up the second you get in there. And you actually end up hearing, as you're walking in to the area, you're hearing one of the secret police essentially doing some sort of interrogation on somebody. And so you're like, just sort of peek your head into a room, and the secret police, they're like, what the hell are you doing? They yank you in. They're like, are you with him? Are you a spy with him?
Are you his boyfriend?
Yeah. And then the guy's like, I don't fucking know that dude. And then they're like, yeah, whatever. And so you get cuffed up immediately. Like, you're just in cuffs while they're doing the rest of the thing. And it's very clear that they're about to execute him. As they're like, all right, well, we'll kill you, and then we'll dust your friend here, and we'll just call this investigation closed.
Yeah.
And he's like, I didn't even do anything. And he's like, yeah, shut up. Just, go ahead and take this bullet real quick. So he smacks him, shoves him over, opens the door, and he looks at you, and he's just like, run. So, of course, you're like, oh, I got to get the fuck out of here.
Sure.
So, and of course, the little tutorial window pops up, and it's like, hey, by the way, you're going to move slower while your hands are cuffed. So just make sure you're mashing that sprint button, baby. And
which was the worst, because you're mashing the sprint, and it's like, I can't tell if me mashing sprint is helping you run faster, or if it's run stop.
So there's the stamina thing, right? So you're running, but then after so much of running, you slow down. You have to press it again to keep it going. So you're running through, and you're just basically running through the station, and they are all shooting at you. And to the point where you're running up, and it's clear that you guys are about to run at the end of the line, and the guy knows that he's overextended and he went too far. So he points he points his arm to the left, and he's like, that.
It was the first time I died because I went a little further and took a different left, and that was a dead end. I'm like, oh, okay, we're going to do this again. All right.
Yeah, so you run up the stairs and then run across, and then a cutscene kicks in where you're stuck in this sort of corner, and so you go to jump right off the edge of this ledge to land down on the ground. And who is there to save you but Khan's friend, the blacksmith? And so he yanks you in before anybody can see you, gets you uncuffed. And
no one ever checks the room down below where you jumped to see if you went there?
Well, so here's the thing. I'm sure they, because you can actually hear them still searching for you in the background, but after he gets you uncuffed, you basically explain what you're doing. He's like, all right, well, good news is the plan for me to get you out of here is actually leaving in the next 5 minutes. So let's go, immediately.
Yeah.
So you start walking out, and he's basically like, hey, so they're about to go send a bunch of troops to go fight the Nazis. So what I'm going to do is shove you under the bottom of this cart, and you're just going to hold on. And by the way, you'll have a nice copy of Metro 2333 to read.
Yeah, just sitting right there.
But they'll basically be just like, hey, we're going to shove you under there, and you can just hold on for dear life and hope that... And the guy even says when you get under, he goes, what if they go over a bump? Like, he's probably going to get knocked out. And he's like, nah, it'll be all right. And it's
And
like,
yeah,
yeah, okay.
the
I can
description
see where
was
this
that
is
it was a
going.
literal and figurative underground
Yeah.
railroad. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you are getting taken to the front line, which is what they were calling sort of the battle with the Nazis. And when you get there, boy,
It's a front
is
line.
it is like you drop off and it's clear. So I actually really love this section of the game for multiple reasons. So my first time through, I thought that this was so brutally hard because there's an
Yes.
achievement for going through without being seen. And
Wow.
I did it my first time through. I did not do it this playthrough, but the first time through I did it. This section, that time, probably took me like 3 hours all on its own, just trying to learn enemy patterns and trying to take it slow and knife killing people here or knocking somebody out there or doing whatever it is that I need to do and then get out of there. This one, I roundabout knew what to do. And you'll kind of see even there's a couple times where I had to reload a checkpoint because I would just barely get caught. And so I'm like, fuck this, I know I can do it. And so I would reload it, which you'll probably see in the footage down there. But so you get there though, and I really love you are running up on a one of the commanders on the communist side, and he is just trying to rouse the boys. He is given a good a speech as he can. While, by the way, the entire time under complete gunfire from the Nazis on the other side. So these two bases are there's a huge bridge section, and they're basically just in a standoff between each other, just shooting at each other from the opposite sides, and that's just like an old World War I style trench, basically no man's land in the middle of them, and they're just shooting at each other across the sides of it. So you are going through there, and you can listen to them. I don't know. Did either of you guys listen to the full speech?
Yes.
So
Because I died once. I'm like, I need to let them leave.
I picked off a headshot and crouched and just started shooting people like fish in a barrel as they came around.
that is certainly a way to handle this section. So, but if you do it, so what's funny is, so then Preston, if you heard it, so he's like, he's like going inspiring, and then finally like the cadets start asking too many questions.
He's like, come
and
on,
it's
man.
like getting hard, man. And he's like, come on, man.
Do my best.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Like, just go.
Just go.
Go do the thing you're supposed to go do. So in that section, after that, now what the easiest way to do it is as soon as that he starts talking, their attention is completely fixed on him. You can slip right by down the side, go down the stairs. Nobody knows you're there. You go right down, and then you go across to where the front line is actually at, where the two are shooting at each other. And what you're supposed to do there is sit and wait right at the part where there's like the undercross where there's like the little sort of sandbags that are sitting there. And if you sit on the other side of those sandbags and wait, you crossing that is a trigger for new troops that were coming in behind you that you didn't see, like that were coming in behind you on a car. And they start running down the stairs. So they'll run right past you and not see you. And they'll go up and go to the front line. And then if you walk forward, there's a prisoner that was trying to desert that's about to get executed. You can stop him from getting executed, get some nice little moral goodness points.
Then he gets shot immediately after.
Because he'll start to run, and so then somebody will see him and they'll shoot him anyway. But you try to do the right thing, which is what the game is trying to count. So now you have two options at this point. You can go up the stairs and just start shooting all of the communist people, and then go and start making your way methodically to shoot all of the Nazis on the other side and just go, which I think based on it looks like that might be what Alex did. But
I was a one-man communist Nazi killing machine.
So
is what happened.
the way easier way, which I think Preston you might have
So
done.
I listened to the entire interrogation. So I killed him right before he got killed. But he's like, "Oh no, I was gonna let you know there's an easy way to get to like the other side, like through this other pass, like a secret passage. All you gotta do is like there's a broken spot over here." I'm like, "Cool, don't want to fight anybody." So I killed those two guys, everyone sees me at this point because I killed one guy and I just stabbed the commander there, and he notices me. And then I'm like, nope, he said go this way, so I start doing my thing, and they can't shoot you when you're further out there.
Nope. Yeah. Exactly. So now, you can do that whole thing without getting seen. Like no one knows you're down there.
I got seen up until that point where I stopped them from killing the guy.
Yeah. But yeah, so you can now. You probably got. My guess is that you probably got saw by some of the troops that ran by the side. Would be my guess if you were moving forward at the time. Yeah. So, but yeah, there's a whole secret basically underneath this bridge where you can jump across all these different sort of decrepit little platforms, get down, and you get down to the bottom, and you have to put your gas mask on because it is just radiation city down there. So then you're going down. Now, did you find the secret area there, Preston?
I don't think so.
There'd have been like it was 3 by, but they're like in full armor, and there's just like mountains of ammo and bullets for you to take.
They did not.
So essentially, what you can do is under that bridge, and it'll be on here. But so you can go forward, and as soon as the critical path is to the left, where you would then start sort of crouching through all these different rebels, and you have to sort of cut the wires for all the explosives that the Nazis set on that side. However, if you veer off to the right, there's like this little sort of like rubble pile that you can sort of go over, and then there's like a thing to drop into. You walk around it, and then boom, there's a fire that these people sort of, I'm assuming whoever went and set all of those bombs up, they died from radiation poisoning or whatever, and so they all had sort of just created a fire, and they were sitting around it, and then they just died. But all of this gear and ammo and everything is there, so you can just like just eat it all up, and you're like, cool, I have like 400 fucking assault rifle bullets now, so nobody can stop me. But then you can climb, and as you climb up the back, you basically can get right through the corner and slip by the Nazis, and they have no idea that you were there the whole time, and so you can just run right out and keep going. But then you're like, oh, okay, cool. So I should just be able to keep going. And then you're like, oh, they have a whole back part of their base just like the Soviets did.
Yep.
So then you're going through that section, and as you get through there, you end up finding there's some Soviet special forces that they had locked up on their end. So you can stop them from getting executed and save them. That gives you some more, no moral goodness points. But then as you're leaving that area, did you guys find the generator for that area that you can cut the power off and make it a little easier on yourself? Yes. Yeah. So, because there is a way, you can just leave that on and then they all just see you all the time, or you can just be like, poof, kill the whole thing and then go through.
So, I actually think, I wonder if there's a trigger, because when I made it to the other side with the Nazi side, those Soviets were not there.
My
prisoners
guess
were not there.
Is that because you were just going in guns blazing, they probably just had already killed them.
It took longer, maybe.
But that would be weird because okay, so here's the thing with that. You fight, so like in that main canal like area, I killed all the Soviets and all the Nazis stopped shooting, and they're like, "Oh, what's going on?" Essentially, you see me like my
which I actually
shape just walking through the mist right down the center,
Russian
and all of a
Rambo
sudden
over here.
And it was part Russian Rambo and part me not paying attention. So I just I'm walking down the middle, and all of a sudden you see some lights, and I was like, oh, I think there's some guys there. And all of a sudden it's just like, so of course I dive behind one of the barriers, and I just start peek and pop. Everywhere will take a few shots unless you hit right in the center of the light.
Yeah.
Center of the light, headshot, right? So then I started peeking and popping and taking out headshots, and I made it through there. But when you make it past that point, it's not just you're in that base. You have a whole tunnel where there's a mechanical. There's
a car, yeah.
But I didn't engage those guys. So I ran and dove down to the left and walked to the side. So they walked by me and never knew I was there.
You know what?
And then I snuck around and went up. But I bet you, because I didn't save other people or didn't engage with other people, it probably never triggered whatever was supposed to happen.
I wonder if the implication is that because you killed all the Soviets, there was no Soviets to capture and bring over.
Maybe.
Possible.
I wonder, because I really do like the touch though, the one that you talked about, where because you killed them all, the the Nazi soldiers on the other side are like, "What the hell's going on over there?" They start talking. Yeah, it is really funny.
Those details are really, really cool. This was actually the part where I got stuck because it took me a minute. Because again, like I was only rocking 2 guns because I didn't figure out at the time how to pump that gun up, and I would sneak past the first guys, no problem. I would get in that second room, and I was like, shoot, I don't know what to do here. But what I didn't realize is that the railroad car with the machine gun will come back. It's patrolling back and forth.
Yeah.
So it would start shooting me from behind. So then I would have to like, what am I going to do? So I kind of panic and I would run forward and just start cranking guys with a shotgun as I would run and eventually get taken down from behind or something.
Yeah.
So it took me a couple of tries to realize when I pop up, instead of waiting and running forward, go to the right and you can climb along the pipes and sneak and stuff that way. And that's how I was able to eventually get through that.
Now,
but I got stuck here for a while.
I will say I really do appreciate the details for either the way that Preston and I took plus the way you took, is because I think, especially back when this came out, that level of AI awareness for different paths, especially in a shooter, is like it did not happen very often.
Oh yeah.
So I do want to give Mazer props for that, because I always thought that was super cool, even when I played it when it came out. But yeah, so you get through the Nazi line, only to, as you are leaving and you're like, all right, I did it. And so you're opening these crank doors and you're getting out, and you open up the second door. What are you greeted with? Just the ass end of a fucking rifle right into your face. And he's like, oh, you communist piece of shit. And you're like, you want to just be like, Artie, just say you're not a communist. It's too late. You're getting knocked out. And so then you come to in what is basically a torture chamber, and and they are really putting the business on you. When you come out, you are face down in a puddle of your own blood. You are getting just absolutely wrecked, and right before you're about to get executed, 2 of Miller's friends, two extra hunters, drop down and just smoke these 2 dudes. And they do it in a cool way where they look at you and they're like, you know, my favorite thing about bad guys is that they just fucking want to yap way too much. He's like, had they not been yapping, they would have got you before we even had a chance to get you here. And so you go through and they're like,
the cutscene there too is like, dude, that guy like Superman jumps, so he sneaks along.
I know, dude, and the
stabs the first guy in the neck,
slow-mo.
and then he just jumps in the air. His whole like body turns and just ridiculous.
And you hear the game go, like to do the slow mo part, which I actually really really like. I thought that was super fun. So then you are basically, it sort of fades away, and it's the assumption that RTM basically tells him like, hey, this is why I have Miller's, tag. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. And so, he looks at you and he's like, all right, hey, no worries. I'll meet you. I got to do something else. So I'll meet you at Black Station, but you and my partner can go. We'll all meet up at Black Station, and then I will get you to Polis for sure. 100%. And so you're like, all right. So he's like, all right, man. The other guy, and they shake hands, whatever. And he's like, all right, get in, RTM. You can man the gun, and let's just hope that we get through these Nazi checkpoints. Hopefully they're stupid enough to just let us go on through. Because he goes, I can pass for it because we have the gear, like we're wearing the uniform and doing all this other thing. But if they look too long at you, they're gonna see you. So just get in the gunner seat and keep it. Get ready to shoot.
Heaven forbid we don't just like raid one of the dudes we just killed and put me in the right gear, but
right, yeah. So you get in, and boy, does it just go to shit immediately. You get to that first Nazi checkpoint, they're like, what are you doing? He's like, and you could tell this guy just was not prepared to answer questions.
Fuck.
He was like, I'm supposed to bring the ammo, Herr Commander. And he's like, the ammo? Dude, people already came through with the ammo. He's like, who the fuck are you? And he's like, and you're just like, well, and he's like, shoot these guys. And then he's like, open fire. And so you start shooting on the turret, and that is where, so I actually love this. Like, you are just like, now it is me who is in control of the turret. And so, that turret is
Yeah.
every bit as powerful as you want it to be.
I love this change of pace because like you're doing the
Yeah.
sneaking, you're feeling not as powerful because you got two armies you're in between of. Now it's you and this giant fucking turret and a whole bunch of like metal shield around you, and it's just like on linear path of just like he's gonna go forward, and you're just gonna shoot whoever you can at any time, and it was a lot of fun.
But it wouldn't be this game if you're not juggling extra mechanics at the same time. So they have this, but they're like, by the way, we're still in old shitty subtunnels of the metro, so be prepared to duck or shoot through support beams because they will smack you up as you're going through, right?
I love that you felt the nice change of pace, Preston, because like where I had run through and been running and gunning this whole time, I actually got a little bit of action fatigue because this section too, like even on normal, is not easy.
No.
Like if you're not taking people out quickly, like on the sides
You'll
and
get
stuff,
got.
they will eventually overwhelm you. So I was almost getting action fatigue where I'm just like, I need a rest. Like me as a character, like I need a rest.
Now, and this is the thing that I really like about this, the way they sort of strike this balance of this game is because they handle the normally when a horror / like thriller survival horror kind of thing tries to do the action rest thing, it is you're usually fighting things like zombies or monsters or creepy thing, whatever it is, right? But in this, like, the humans are able to overwhelm you just as much as the Novalises are, right? And so you're sitting there and you're like trying to get through and you're just like, for God, dude, I just need to get, and you're running low on ammo all the time. And in certain parts, like when you're in highly irradiated areas, your mask is taking damage all the time that you're getting shot. And there's sometimes, I don't know.
It's like, it's cracked. It's hard to see.
Well, not only does it get hard to see, right, but then also like you can just lose your mask straight up. And if you're outside when that happens, like, rest in pepperonis, dude. That's it. You're done. So like, all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, I love that. Like they nail that feeling, and especially with the cracks sometimes where you're sitting there. I had moments, especially in my first playthrough, where like if I'm outside and it's like super cracked, it's like, okay, fuck, I got to take this off so I can get the shot that I'm trying to get, and then I need to put it back on before so that I don't suffocate or whatever. But yeah, so through this section, your whole point is this dude is just pedal to the metal, and you are just breaking through the Nazi lines and encampments and stations and everything, and all the stuff they have going on. And what do you end up doing as you get down is you hear somebody go, oh shit, it's a fucking Panzer tank.
Panzer.
And
yep.
you're sitting there and you're just like, dude, what the fuck am I supposed to do here? Like, damn. Like,
Shoot.
yeah, and so you get through all of that, and it is just like constant, like just fighting through all that. All these other, they send extra motorized cars after you. There's a couple times where he's trying to break through one of the walls, and they're all like
just bouncing back
and they're like, rush them, and so you're sitting there, you're like, motherfucker, if you don't hurry up and get us through this wall, and you're just trying to kill people and do that stuff. So you break out of there, and your car finally breaks down. So then you're traveling with him, and you guys find a streetcar, or like the regular trolley cars. And he's like, he makes it very clear, like, by the way, like, we're about to have some company. Like, this is not a, we're past the Nazis and we're back to Nosalis territory. So. And sure enough, similar thing, right? You guys were on the trolley car, and I knew it's one of those things where you're like, well, I've been in this situation before, so I know it's gonna get dicey. And so the entire time, and he, unlike your first travel companions, like, he has plenty of firepower on him, and you guys, there's still times where they're grabbing onto your trolley car and hitting you and doing this other thing, right? And so then it starts to speed up, and it's going, and you guys are going downhill, and you're going really fast. And what happens? But it starts to get overran. So what does he do? He shoves you off, And then he basically ignites one of his grenades on top of him and goes, I'm taking you guys all with me. And then, boom, explodes everybody else. And you're left to go to the rest of heading towards Black Station on your own. So as you are walking through, you end up getting to I don't remember the name of this station. I don't know if they actually say what but it's like a little mini outpost essentially, and they're all getting ready to fight. They know that a bunch of monsters are coming, and they're like, "Hey man, look, we need your help. So like, if you help us survive this, we'll open the way for you to get to Black Station essentially. But we gotta, we need help." And so you sit down with all these guys, and you get ready for the impending sort of invasion from the Nosalises, and because they're trying to set time for all of the people in their station to escape, right? And so as they're doing that, all of a sudden now these sort of like pulses start shooting through the environment that are knocking out the sound, and you're realizing, especially later, that it's a new kind of Nosalis. So it's sending out like sort of brain, waves,
like
or
wings,
like just
like crawling on walls.
Yeah, to blast stuff away and make you lose, whatever's going on. And it actually knocks you and everybody else out at a point right before the invasion starts. Because I'm assuming what they're hoping for is that Nosalises would just love for everybody to be dead or knocked out on the ground, and then they can just mosey on through and do their thing, right? So you fight off that, and even still, with all, you can try as hard as you want, but you still get overwhelmed there, and they basically take the station, and the guy basically gives you a tape and says like, "Hey, this is the, I've got a message on here to loop for the distress call that'll put it out to Polis. We need your help. Just get it to somebody so they can hear it, and otherwise, try to get through." And so I'll stop there because that was, there's a lot that happens there. So between all of that, where are you guys at? You're muted.
Oh, I was gonna say, you can go ahead, Preston. I'll go. So with this whole section again, like you've had no rest other than the short part, like after the trolley wrecks and you kind of make it through the little train car and you get maybe a new little gun which has like a scope on it. Then you're right back into like a defense mode, right? Mm-hmm. And then there's one part there where it gets what's the word I'm looking for? The supernatural thing happens too, right? Where we're outside of that outpost and like a huge wave.
That's what I was just talking about. Yeah,
like rushes over us all, which again is like,
and it kills some of the people.
It does. It kills some of the people, which is. This is the one thing that keeps pushing me forward in this game. Like the world is really interesting. They've done a really good job. I could not care less about these little monsters I have to shoot through. They are just in my way to find out what is going on with the supernatural stuff. And I'm still finding it interesting and a little hard to understand how they tie together, right? Even if like the Novalis things, like even if they created or controlled them, but like one is very supernatural and the other are very mutant-y. Mm-hmm. And there's, to me, just this weird disconnect between the two. So I'm really interested to continue to see like what is going on, and I'm move forward that way. But still, like by this point, it's still just fight fatigue. Like I've had 3 minutes of rest, and I'm just like, I walk into the room and I'm just like, again.
Now
so what do I
how
do?
The character feels.
So as soon as that wave rushes by and a couple people die, like grab a position or what, like be ready and hold them off. I just get my shotgun out and I run to the back right corner where there's a little post and I crouch down and I'm just like, come at me. I'm just gonna sit. Like I'm not running around. I'm not chasing you. Like I'm sitting.
Yeah.
And whatever makes it past these guys that can't do it, like I'll shoot you. But otherwise, like I'm sitting right here. So,
Yeah.
but again, this is kind of what I'm talking about up to this point, where I think less happens, because for a long time in my playthrough, this has been a very linear, just fight for survival.
Go forward.
So you had that big story dump, right, in chapter 3, and right now in chapter 4, it just feels like this very linear halt. And I'm not saying that's bad by any means, but this is the point where I feel like less actually happens because you're just trying to survive to get to Black Station.
I think less happens story-wise for the paranormal stuff, but a lot happens in terms of events of what you have to fight through.
And your
I think
progression.
part of it too is the way that you chose to progress through the levels, which is fine. You're absolutely able to go through them like that. That's why it's a choice there. But that probably adds to it as well.
Yeah. I kind of spoke on how I felt about it already. I like to change the pace. It kind of went through a couple times, and now we're back into it to where it's a little more fighting, and we'll kind of talk about that a little more. But yeah, no, I like the kind of flow of this game so far, to where it feels like, at least for me, when I choose certain stealthy areas and didn't choose to go across the bridge, I did have a little bit of change of pace. It slowed down a little bit for me. I got to catch my breath a little bit. I just grab ammo for the most part, not have to deal with shooting people, and then then get through a little more shooting.
Yeah. So as you make your way then through the outpost, you realize this whole outpost got smoked. Like, some people ended up making it out, but very
soldier
clearly,
bodies, monster bodies, like just bodies and blood
like
everywhere.
There was a last stand that happened, and it it did not go the way that you would want. So whoever made it out, but nobody else. A lot of people died, right? So as you're going through, and your whole point is like, I just need to get through this so that I can get to the outpost to then make my way to Black Station. But as you are going through, towards the end, you hear a child basically starting to cry and ask for their uncle to get up and blah blah blah. You open the door, and it's this kid who's sitting here and is standing over their dead uncle like, dude, come on, you gotta take me to my mom, please. Like, I'm gonna get fucked here. There's lots of monsters. And it's very clear the kid is like trying to come. He gets there in the end that his uncle got smoked, but he's like, my uncle did it though, like a monster came and bit him in the neck, and he still stabbed him with a knife and killed him. Like, my uncle rules, right? So but this kid is on your back, so you basically tell him like, hey, I'll take you to the outpost, just hop on my back and let's do this thing. So now, in this next section, all the Nosalises started digging basically trap holes throughout the environment. Preston, by your face, it seems like
once.
Because
happens
once,
once,
got you once,
and you're like, you know what? Nope. I just thought I saw one go in there. I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of where they spawn in and out of. Whatever, no big deal. And I walk over one, and I get grabbed and put in there. I'm like, oh, we're not gonna do this again. All right, cool. That's what those do. That's what those do. Okay.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Got for the explanation. Thank you. Respawn.
Yeah. So, I will redo that. Yeah. So you go through this section though, and basically he's calling him out, and he's basically letting you know if they're behind you or in front of you.
Usually little tiny ones too.
Yep. There's the tiny little Nosalises. So you run through this. And there's plenty of stuff, and then you get finally to the silo that sort of leads up to the entrance at the little outpost there. And as you run up there, the kid starts freaking out because he's like, "Holy shit! Is that the sky?" Right? Like, I've only seen that in like paintings and
I'll
books.
be so
before.
popular and famous because I can talk about the sky now.
He's like, I'm gonna tell all my friends I got to see the sky. And what is he? So you run up there, and you hear, as you're running up and you're getting more towards the top, you hear some woman just like fucking losing her mind. She's like, I don't care that they got overran. Like, I need to go see if my kid's still down there. Let me through. And it's very clear, like, okay, this is this kid's mom, right? So you're getting up there. The kid hops off your back, runs to the mom, and immediately is like, yo, I helped this dude kill monsters. I saw the sky. My uncle died, and that sucks. But like, hey, I'm here. I made it. We're back. Let's do this thing.
I also love at the very close to the end of you scaling that like silo. Kid's like, oh shit, don't drop me, man. Like, we're up real high right now. My kid starts freaking out a little bit. He's like, God, I didn't realize how high this is gonna be. Like, I'm not cool with this anymore.
Yep.
Turned into me.
So as you know, get through there, one of the guys is like, "Hey, man, I really appreciate you saving this kid because his dad is like a real important person to our cause, and we would have been fucked, like if this, if it didn't happen. But these are all the survivors essentially of that giant outpost that we just went through that got smoked. So you have like your last little stop where there's a couple shops that are sitting along the right side of the wall, and they're like, "Hey, man, this is it before Black Station, so you're definitely gonna want to stock up." And boy, do you, because this next section is, and I actually really, really like this section because of what it implies. So they let you through the door, and it's basically, they're like, "Hey, get your mask on because you're going outside. The only way to Black Station now is over the surface. So you have to cross over the surface, and then you'll hit the next basically subway entrance, right, to get to Black Station." So you get through, and as soon as you open the door, you see a bunch of lights that are aiming down. They're sort of, on a swivel. They're doing this thing, but then you're hearing a bunch of troops start basically marching down, and they are on orders to take the outpost that you just came from. Now, they obviously don't know that the monsters basically just overran that outpost, and the only survivors that are left are in that tunnel. But they are on their way to just wipe out all of those people, essentially, that you just went through. So you have a choice, right? You can smoke all of these people, being the damn Nazi bastards that they are, or you can just run up and fucking leave. Like, you can just go. And now, I will say, I know, if I remember correctly, it is possible to go through the whole game, I think, without... There's a few mandatory sections where you have to kill some, but for the most part, any of these opens that you can go through without killing anybody. To this day, I still mostly smoke every single person that I can in this section, because I'm just like, it's too hard, and it's too much. Like, this area is so big, and there's so many different avenues that I could take, and I don't want to learn all these patrols. I'm just gonna pull my AK out and start giving it to these Nazi pieces of shit. So as you shoot through and you basically climb up to the top, you start to see how just like vast the area that you have to cross to get to Black Station is, and it's big. And now, did either of you guys... So there's a section where you get to the top, and one of the demons fucking smashes through a wall. It was like, and opens up basically your way to get into that building, right? But smashes through a wall, grabbing one of the Nazis, and the Nazi he drops him, and so the Nazi starts running away. And you can kill him before the demon gets him, or if you just sort of step to the side, the demon grabs him anyway, and there's nothing that he's getting got either way, right? But I don't know if you guys noticed this. So on the side, there's a secret achievement here called DJ Artyom, because this is actually where the guy described this area that you're in right now is where the radio tower is at for you to play, for everybody in the area to play that distress signal. It's totally optional. You don't have to do it, and it is missable. But instead of going through the wall where that dude got smashed through, if you follow it back behind where the little fence is, there is a crane that then you can jump on and walk up straight to the top of the roof. And one of the demons is sitting there perched on the roof. You just take one of your fancy little napalm grenades, boom, throw it on him. He's done. You kill him. And then you get to just, in peace, play the distress signal, and it goes out. And it's basically this guy basically describing to everybody from Polis and beyond, like, hey, man, we're done. Like, they made it through. We're fucked. There's a couple survivors that have still made it out, but... And they're basically reaching out to Polis and saying, like, you guys got to send some people, because we're fucked. So you need to come and clear it out and help us. So then after that, you jump down the side of that building, and this is, without a doubt, easily the most stressful part of the the game so far, in my opinion, because there are so many fucking enemies everywhere, and they are just waiting to, and they're in full armor because they're outside, right? So they're in the element, so it makes sense. But also, like, they have to fight all the Nosalises all the time and the giant demons, plus they have to deal with the nuts. So they're like, everybody is strapped in the area that you're in, right? So you have to fight through all of them. So you have to go down through the house, out the front door, across the ice bridge, and into this basically like, car graveyard. And at first, when you're sitting there, and you can sort of snipe some of them from a little far away, so you can break the light, and you can like shoot the 3 people that are sitting out there. And as you run out, now their reinforcements show up, and so you're sitting there, and you actually have a really unique opportunity where you're just like 2 of those demons swoop down and start fighting these guys at the same time. And so they're shooting at them and shooting at you and going back and forth. And it was one of those things where I was like, honestly, man, I'm just going to sit and like take pot shots where I can, but I'm going to let these demons just smoke you guys. And then once they've killed all of you is when I'll just make my run for it, and I'll take my risk, by just trying to outrun them. Mm-hmm. But you get through that section, you run down the entrance to the Black Station, and who do you see but Ullman from before? And he's like, "Yo, RTO, what's going on, man? What up, dude?" And he's like, "Hey, where's my friend?" And he's like, you know what? I get it. Right on. All right. Well, hey, no worries. I know you heard that Black Station basically got fucked, but don't even worry about it. You're with me now. Let's smoke these Nazi pieces of shit, and let's get a move on." And he hands you night vision goggles, a pair of night vision goggles, so you can go full Hunter Rambo just like he is. And so you go through, and I don't know about you guys, but the first thing I did now that the night vision goggles are unlocked is every single chance I got, I would either shoot because I have a silencer on my pistol. So I would either shoot all the lights in an area, or I would, if I had an opportunity to, I would just close them out, like just, touch them and they would go out. But I'd make every area as dark as possible, and then I would just full on Batman these people where I'm just like, you can't see me coming, I'm running up right to you, and I'm just knife to the dome, I'm just running right through. Nobody can stop me. And every single time, because with the silencer, you're shooting the lights, and they're like, "What the fuck? Where's all our lights going?" You're like, "Boop!" It's too late. It's already too late for you. But so you get through that section, and we are coming up to the end of that time. So as you go through, there's multiple different parts of Black Station that you have to get through, right? So there's like, and actually, Alex, now that I think about this, you're correct. This is the cutscene that I was thinking of. It isn't with Khan before; it's with Ullman. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so as you make your way through the tunnels, though, and you're going through, and you're trying to make it to the railway to shoot your way over to Polis, you're in this sort of weird, sort of like twilight zone, and what I was talking about with the Homo Novus shows up, where they're sitting there and they're like, what you said, like, what is he doing? Like, they're trying to figure out what you're doing and all this other stuff, and they give the line about...
They talk about you, like, saving the child, right? And they're like, "Oh, you saved him earlier," or maybe they even do that earlier, whatever, but they're like, you just hear their voice disembodied, and they say, "Why would you do that? We want to see what you're capable of," and that sort of thing. Like, we're here to observe and watch,
Yeah, and they talk about you in the circle where they're like, just like with children and their parents, like, we too are interested and just want to love and understand you and all of this other stuff. But as you get through that gate, is Ullman's on the other side waking you up, and he's like, "Hey man, hey, like we're here, we're good." And he gets on, he's like, "Don't even worry about it. Like, it's a smooth ride from here to Pulse. You can put your gun down and you can finally relax." And then the final cutscene plays so it's the beginning of chapter 5 where we ended. But I actually really, really like this I think it's a perfect place to end on. Is now, did you guys see this cutscene or did you stop before this?
I stopped.
Okay. Well, so I'll just say, like, so when you get to this,
I stopped whenever I see the chapter.
okay,
5.
Did you
Yeah.
watch it, Preston?
I slowly started. I'm like, this is giving me more story stuff. I'm gonna come back to this when we start doing chapter 5.
That's fine. So, yeah. So, but basically, essentially, what and you'll see it when you start it up. But when where we end is you're pulling into Polis and Ullman realize, like, this is, hey man, this is probably your first time seeing something like of this magnitude. So take it in, and when the gates open and the cart goes through, you realize, like, this is what a main station, like what they mean when they say main station, like this is a city, like this is the equivalent of pulling into an LA or a Chicago or a New York or whatever. Like, it is bust, like there's tons of people and everybody's living good, they've got regular clothes on, they're chilling, like they're like, everybody is like buying and selling and doing things. It's like, hey man, let's go, what's up? Hey, let's go grab a drink, let's go grab some food, blah, blah, blah. Like, everybody is just like, you can tell that there's so many people and everything is so well protected, and because it's the main city or the main station, it's this hub station where all these other different stations can connect to. You can feel it immediately, and so then you get out of the car and you're able to have free roam, and then that is where we end. So how did you guys feel about the last section?
Good.
I liked it. Sorry. You go ahead, Preston. I liked it. I liked where it started with the silo. I thought that was a really pretty part, right, where you just look up and you see the sky. I was glad they didn't make you do much with the kid, because I hate escort missions in games like this. They didn't make you do that. So that was good. And then the fighting, the fighting was the fighting, right? I've been fighting for a while now. I luckily had like a little like long shot pistol with a nice scope on it to help me get through some of those sections. But even back to the bridge, like way back, if there was an opportunity for me to run and outrun enemies, that's what I was doing to the end, But yeah, it was good. I'm excited. I'm excited to move forward. We're getting more and more with the Homo Novus and other stuff. So, we don't have. I think we're halfway, if not a little bit more. So
just a little bit. Yeah. So I think based on how long this, because I don't know about you, but this wasn't that too long. So I think we'll be okay for this next section to just finish it.
We can probably cap it off. I might do it like in 2 playthroughs, just because this one was longer out of the 2. So it was the first part and second part. Mainly because I got stuck here and there with some of the combat. So
yeah,
kind of know a little bit more about what I'm doing, and I'll probably split this into 2 playthroughs.
Yeah, but our next episode,
ours would be the last part,
because that final chapter has like 2 sections.
That's
in it.
all.
It's really so it's not that bad.
Yep.
But we'll finish it up next time. But
So,
So anyway, so Preston, how are you?
No,
feeling?
same thing. I like the pacing a little bit differently. I'm trying to do more stealth. So I'm taking the little pipe across the outside of the building when they're talking to each other. I'm like, okay, I'm going to avoid all these people as much as possible. I did get to the top of the building where you see that one beast, but I didn't know that was where the radio was.
Yeah.
So I'm like, fuck that. I'm not going over there. Let's see where else we can go. And I passed it up. So I'm kind of upset I didn't get to drop that off. I wish it was a little more clear. But older game, it's not going to make it super obvious what the side stuff are. Yeah.
It does radio static, so while you're over there, you'll hear the radio, like the.
There's also a little tape player you can find later on that has, I guess, like one of the anthems. I'm not sure what it was for, but you can turn that off and on.
So you did find that, I think, then.
Well, no, it just looked like a little tape deck, like a little thing that looked like an answering machine kind of deal. And I pressed it, but it didn't insert anything in there.
So then I think you probably just didn't pick up. You must have missed the tape that you can get from that guy back.
I remember him telling me about give it to him, but I guess I just didn't grab it from him.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't automatically give you things in this game.
No, yeah, you do have to take them. Yeah.
So, same thing with night vision goggles. Didn't use them the entire time. So,
really?
I was playing during the day. So when I'm in the TD tunnels with like the front line, I'm like, I can't see shit. Let's turn up this gamma a little bit so I can see a little better. Because it's the middle of the day. I'm not, the dark is even darker, and there's no bright light anywhere.
So you gave yourself real life night vision goggles.
I did. Yeah. So I mean, well, the thing is, like, I couldn't see certain parts because I'm playing in the middle of the day. Because fuck playing this at night. And it just, I guess I could just see better. So I didn't even like realize I'll use night vision now. He gives you a gun too. Like he puts a gun out there in between the bars.
A silenced SMG.
Yeah, and that's what I grabbed from him. I did not notice the night vision.
Yeah. The night vision goggles are automatic. You don't have to take those from
Okay,
them.
so I didn't notice the button press because they didn't say, "Hey, press this button to use night vision goggles." Or if they did, I didn't notice.
The same button that you use to put on your mask, like the gas mask, it's just the other button on the side of it. So instead of instead of X, it's B. So when you press B, your night vision goggles will come down.
And then, what did you guys do? Did everyone accept the reward for saving the kid, or did they not? Because that's the one thing you did not mention.
Yeah, I did. So yeah, that is another moral point. I told her to keep it.
I took it.
You took it, Alex?
You're muted, Alex.
You're muted again.
I don't even know how that one happened. No, I told her to keep it.
So you got good moral points. I got good moral points. Preston got the bad points.
That's good because I've had bad every other time.
The whole thing, like he mentioned it later on. He's like, "Did I take it or did I not take it? Like, do I want to offend her by not taking it?" I'm like, "No, I'm not gonna offend her by taking it. Like, I saved her kid, and it's an important fucking kid." And she wanted to offer me. She's like, "I don't have very much, but here's this." I'm like, "Well, I'm not gonna be like, no, your shit's not good enough for me." I'm like, "Oh, I took."
But
And in this world, you get what you get. You take what you can get, right?
In this world, you look at a single mother and you're like, you can use it. It's okay.
His dad's got probably a bunch of money. He's like all important and shit. Like, I'm not too worried about them. He's like royalty.
It seems like she's just raising. Seems like he's off doing stuff and probably she's raising this.
She could have just not offered me anything. That'd be fine too. But she did, so I took it. I didn't want to offend her.
It's true.
Well, enjoy those bad points.
I got plenty of good points previously. I'll be fine. But yeah.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, but that is a good point. I did forget to mention that. But yeah, that is another one of those moral points.
Yeah, but other than that, going through that main section of the parking lot and then getting to Black Station finally. Yeah. Nothing really much else to add.
Cool.
All right. Well, which means we have one more part, right? Mm-hmm. We're going to try and power through to the end. If something changes, we'll figure it out. But I have a feeling we can power through to it. And that has been another episode of the book club. This game's good. I'm enjoying it. I mean, I don't enjoy all the spoopy stuff, but
yeah. There's that one part. There's a fucking door. They're like, "Oh, you got to open the door," and a body slinks out of it, and then the monsters come out right after that, and like, God damn it, it's one of the fuck Christian moments.
There's also the one where they're like, listen to the voices, and you listen, and like the shadows reach up and grab you, and you're just like, why? I hate this, but yeah, so far it's good. So we are plowing to the end of Metro 2033, and yeah, that is that. Thank you for hanging out for another episode of our book club. Preston, anything to add before we sign off here?
You're listening to the podcast, youtube.com/@thetestingroom. And if you want to hang out and chill with me on Wednesday nights and Sunday mornings, that would be twitch.tv/testingroompod. Feel free to hang out and chill.
That is it. And don't forget, if you want me to try anything out that you're not quite sure about, send it our way.
Apparently Alex got all his free time where he can watch shitty shows. So, he's not watching the new season of Res Dogs or getting caught up on it. He's watching fucking Twisted Metal.
We've talked about Res Dogs. Yeah. It just doesn't hit me. Allie loves it. I watch it with
her.
But
you watched all of Twisted Metal, which hit you real good.
No, it wasn't better, but like I'm just something new.
Shit.
I know it. I know. So, all right, everybody. I can only have so much of Tiger with TV.
It's fair. Yeah.
That is everything is the same. So, thank you for hanging out with us, everyone. We will catch you next time. With that, Preston, you know what to do. Thank you for listening to another episode of The Testing Room. To catch up on past episodes or check out the newest ones when they drop, follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. If watching is more your thing, check out youtube.com/thetestingroom or twitch.tv/testingroompod. To leave comments and ask questions, follow us on Instagram @testingroompod and email us at testingroompod@gmail.com. See you next time.